everyone. Happy Tuesday and welcome to the opening drive on 101 ESPN. Also on YouTube at 101 ESPN STL. And if you're listening on the 101 ESPN app, we thank you for tuning in from all over the world. Brooke Grimsley is here, Super Bowl champ Kerry Davis. I'm Randy Carricker. And we are going to be relentless for the next 3 hours, just like your St. Louis Cardinals were last night.
Yes.
If you're just waking up, the flash, apparently official, the Cardinals just don't quit. They play a hard nine. And you know, if you're the opposition, you get into a ninth inning and you have a lead against the Cardinals, you are in trouble.
Good luck.
Oh, man. Yeah, if there's one takeaway that I had from last night is that the Cardinals bullpen is bad, but the Diamondbacks bullpen is even worse. Oh, man. Especially Chafin. Whew. That was rough. Thank you to Chafin. Maybe we should applaud Chafin for that. No? Okay. All right. He was terrible.
Grim Reaper out early today, fellas. Watch out.
He's a big fella. And last night, he pitched kind of small. He pitched 2/3 of an inning. He did get 2 outs. He allowed 3 hits. He allowed 5 runs, all earned. He walked a couple. Did strike out a couple. But their closer threw 37 pitches. And here is the way last night's ninth inning unfolded, with the Cardinals trailing by a score of 6-3. I'm sorry, 6-5 heading into the ninth, into the top of the ninth. And here we go.
Well, how fitting would it be for him to come back to the desert and at least get this game tied? Line left field base hit. 1 run scores. Here comes Contreras. He'll stop at third. Goldy comes through with a game tying hit. It's 6-6. What an at bat.
Yeah, and that was just the start of things. Goldy with the great at-bat to tie the game at 6. And then Lars Nootbaar with Contreras on, and Goldy on, and Donovan on.
The 3-2 pitch. Runners go. Ball 4. Cardinals have the lead.
Chip Carey the call on Bally Sports. And that's the most exciting walk the Cardinals had. And guess who else came up? A guy who may have gotten the Cardinals a little bit more on August 1st.
Cardinal at every base, the pitch. Swing, drive, hammer toward left. That ball is down and into the corner. 2-run score. Here comes Nooter around third. He's getting waved. O'Neill clears him with a double.
And he didn't pull a hamstring.
Yes.
Most
That is something.
Yeah.
No back injuries, no shoulder. You stayed healthy.
Yeah, completely healthy. And the Cardinals win it 10-6. Oh, by the way, Adam Wainwright stealing that $17.5 million this year by pitching 5 innings, 2 runs, both earned, 4 hits. He struck out 3 and walked 2 in 76 pitches.
It's a little disheartening. Burke mentioned it. The Cardinals bullpen let him down. Let Adam down, because you're looking at win 199. He left the game with a 5-2 lead. Next inning, it's 5-3, and then all of a sudden the Diamondbacks are up 6-5. And I know Adam Wainwright is happy about the Cardinals win, right? Mm-hmm. His team's probably not going anywhere this year, and so he probably really wants to get to that 200 sooner rather than later. And so that was for me, that was a little bit disheartening that the bullpen, Stratton and JoJo Romero, who has pitched great, just couldn't keep him in line for the victory.
And that's one of those things, too, where we've heard the front office and Ollie Marmol talk about, like, we've been trying to push the right buttons. In that instance, I don't even know who else you would go to at that point.
Right.
And JoJo Romero has been really great. But something about the Cardinals and their bullpen this season, blown saves, I mean, 1-run leads, it's just a recipe for disaster for the bullpen.
Yeah, as John Mozeliak would say, not great.
Not great.
But they came away with the 10-6 victory, and they'll go for 2 in a row tonight. So they snap the losing streak, and that's a good thing. And the Cardinals, if you aren't aware of it, are still not in the cellar. So I think that's one of the positives we have to take out of this, is that, sure, they're 11 games out of first, but they aren't in last.
That's a way to look at that, for sure.
Yes, what I feel when we're together. They're 11 games under 500, which is not great.
Maybe they'll get back to 500.
Well, let's do that first.
Good to have Goldie. And our guy, Steven Matz, goes tonight against Zach Gallen.
Oh, that sounds familiar.
Where's he from?
He's a Cardinal farmhand.
Oh.
I think they loaned him to Miami, maybe.
He's pretty good, though, right?
Yeah.
They took a shot. He was kind of a flyer.
All-star game starter.
For the Cardinals?
No, Kerry. He is with the Arizona Diamondbacks now.
Why is he with them?
Because he got traded there by the Miami Marlins after the Cardinals had traded him to Miami in the Marcell Ozuna trade with Sandy Alcantara and Magneuris Sierra.
Yeah.
You gave up one good pitcher in that trade. Come on.
Yeah.
Why do we got to get angry? You gave up one good pitcher. Jeez. Be realistic, Randy.
Okay. Good point, Matthew.
3-8 with a 4.0 ERA.
Saquon Barkley has a new deal. You thought he was going to hold out, didn't you? Well, Saquon Barkley, breaking news this morning, signs a one-year deal for $11 million with, of course, the New York Football Giants so that they can fulfill my prediction that they'll win the Super Bowl this year.
Oh, that is a bold prediction, sir.
And your Super Bowl MVP is not one Saquon Barkley. It's Daniel Jones.
Oh, my goodness. That's very bold. Yeah. I guess the NFC has the easiest route to the Super Bowl in comparison to the AFC with all of those quarterbacks. I think there's a team in their division, two teams in their division that they're going to have trouble with. One being the Cowboys and the other being the Philadelphia Eagles that actually made it to the Super Bowl last year.
Yeah.
I think the Philadelphia Eagles are the odds-on favorite to make it out of the NFC.
The defenders always are,
Yeah.
but how often do they make
This
it?
is true.
Randy, I have a prop bet for the Super Bowl already pulled up.
Like this?
Is Daniel Jones going to outrush Saquon Barkley in the Super Bowl?
That's a very good one.
That's a great
one.
That'll pay out, too.
Yes.
Oh, that'll pay out, too. I'm going to put that in right now. I'll get like plus 70,000.
Oh, by the way, if we're doing futures here right now, who's going to represent the AFC against the Giants? Because I don't think
Dolphins.
Kansas City's making it
I
back.
think it's going to be the Bengals' time.
That's a great call.
I think it's their time. They've just kind of been year after year right there, come up short, made it to the Super Bowl, come up short. AFC Championship games, they're right there, poised. Joe Burrow is if they didn't start off the season as slowly as they did last year, they probably would have been in a better position. And then you had that unfortunate incident where you had to miss a game. They had to cancel the game. It's a lot of things that didn't happen in the right direction for them. I think the Cincinnati Bengals are the team that's poised to do that.
So I know that Kerry Davis can't hate me because he's too good of a guy, but I know he can come close. And I'm going to say the Baltimore Ravens.
Ooh.
Oh, really?
So you know what? As much as I don't like that team that wears purple, I do like.
You can't even bring yourself to say their name.
You know, I don't. Someone asked me, was I going to watch they had a 30 for 30. Are you going to watch that? What the hell am I going to watch that for? What the hell I look like? They give a damn about those. They call them the bullies of Baltimore. They not no damn bullies. They're just a couple of guys that wear purple. It's okay. I think Lamar Jackson is probably, in my opinion, could win the MVP again. I think he's got a new OC. He's got weapons on the outside, and he's still going to be able to run the ball the way he has in his career thus far. He's my favorite to win the MVP, and it wouldn't surprise me if they made it to the Super Bowl.
Wow,
it wouldn't.
So a rematch of 2000.
Giants and Ravens.
Yeah,
that wasn't a good matchup for the Giants.
I don't think anybody was. Well, there was one good matchup for the Ravens that year.
I would have liked it if the Minnesota Vikings made it to that Super Bowl.
And the Vikings lost 41-0, right?
No, didn't they lose in the NFC Championship game? Or was that a different year when they lost to the Falcons? Which year did Randall Cunningham and Randy Moss?
Oh, that was
99, 98?
Yeah. Okay. But in 2000, that was the year that Oz dropped the punt.
Yes.
So if Oz catches that punt, the Rams go down and they win. And then they beat the Giants. They beat the hell out of the Giants. And what Mike says he would have done, Mike Martz, with Sam Adams and Saragusa in the middle, he was going to go no huddle. And he said, I was going to wear those big hog mollies down.
That's what you do.
Yep. And the Rams would have just, they wouldn't have lit that defense up, but they would have beaten them. They would have scored on them because they did the year before in their opener. I don't think that, with all due respect to Marvin Lewis and Brian Billick, I don't think that they would have had an answer for all those weapons.
No, it was too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, you run those guys sideline to sideline. They tire out.
That, by the way, talking a little inside football here. Brooke, I know that you suffered mightily because of the 99 Rams.
Yes.
The 2000 Rams was the best offense they had. Warner was on pace when he got hurt for 6,600 passing yards. And the team was on pace for something like 650 points. They were averaging like 44 points a game. And of all things, damn, Steve Everett, a backup center. Andy McCollum gets hurt, and Steve Blanken Everett. Game in Kansas City. You remember this. Steve Everett, with a bad snap, breaks Kurt's pinky finger. Bad snap. And knocked Kurt out and just it basically messed up Kurt's career.
Can I ask a really big football nerd question while we're talking about this?
Sure, go ahead. Steve Blanken.
Let's just let alternate history. Ed Reed gets drafted in 2000 instead of 2002. Does that change your idea of how the Rams play against that Baltimore Ravens team?
Ed Reed was a ball hawk but that Ravens defense, if I'm not mistaken, they had McAllister. Who was the other corner? Samari Roll. They had some guys.
Yeah, they were awesome.
I guess they had Woodson back there, didn't they?
Darren, yeah.
They had Woodson back there.
Rod Woodson.
Rod Woodson.
Yeah. You know what? I've heard this 314. Someone says purple represents the color of royalty. Tell that to Northwestern.
Oh.
Great point. That's a great point. So,
okay.
We're off and running here on 101 ESPN. Coming up.
Yes, we see the color, Rod.
Yeah. We're closing in on August 1st, the MLB trade deadline day. Later in the show, we're going to talk to our buddy Stan McNeal from Cardinals Magazine. Also later in the show, Claibs is going to join us from Arizona. We're going to wake him up early in Arizona because nobody in Arizona is getting up, it's 5:11 in
Ask
Arizona.
him what the temperature is out there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Still scorching?
If you're in Arizona and you're either with us on the YouTube or if you're with us on the app or on the text line, 314-399-9646, 314-399. Yo-ho! What are you doing up at...
We both forgot the dance.
What's going on?
Oh, sorry. 314-399. Yo-ho! My bad. I was concentrating. So, yeah, what are you doing up at 5:12 in the morning, and what's the temperature in Arizona right now? Coming up next, though, our latest MLB trade rumors here on 101 ESPN.
Field Studio. This is the opening drive on 101 ESPN.
last night, Chase Field, Arizona, Tyler O'Neill coming back for the Cardinals with, at least according to Bob Nightingale, a half dozen scouts in the stands there to see him.
Cardinal at every base, the pitch. Swing, drive, hammer toward left. The ball is down and into the corner. 2-run score. Here comes Nootbaar around third. He's getting waved. O'Neill clears him with a double.
So you have to think that the scouts liked what they saw from Tyler O'Neill. I'm mildly surprised, Brooke and Carey, that many teams have interest in a guy that missed 63 games with he had I think he had a sore back.
How long did he have to have?
Carey, I think he had about a week back.
Okay.
It is 7:15.
Yeah,
it is
you get one more time for the day.
No more back injuries.
I'm predicting 9:15 right now. I'm predicting 9:15.
Is this what we're coming to? We're going to start placing bets on when the back joke's going to be made?
I've been waiting for this for 2 weeks to start putting numbers on it.
Clean fun.
So he is available. Now, here's another one that I find interesting. Derek Gould reports that an unknown American League team is considered acquiring Steven Matz. If you have Steven Matz, 2 years left at $22 million, and you're the Cardinals, don't you move him?
I think, well, you got to kind of...
Based on what you've gotten out of him for the first 2 years.
Yes, but you have to decide what is next season going to look like. Is he part of your starting rotation, even though he hasn't performed particularly well? We've seen flashes of it, and he's done pretty well his last couple of outings. Is he in your future in the starting rotation? What do you have coming back? What do you have coming up? And if you don't have anything that you trust, then you know you can trust him to eat up innings at some point. So I think that might be a tougher decision for the Cardinals, knowing what's leaving: Jack Flaherty, Jordan Montgomery. You got a lot of guys that are not going to be here next year, and that rotation is going to be thin. And with young players, you might want to have a veteran that you can trust at some point be a fifth starter if need be.
I want to start over with the rotation.
Just completely
I'm on
scrap
board.
it.
And if they're willing, if the Cardinals would be willing to eat some of the salary, which I think would be great. Yeah, if I can remove, Waino's gone. I can remove Flaherty, Montgomery, Matz from this equation, so I've got Michaelis back. And then I'm going to have a rookie, whether it's McGreevy or Graceffo or somebody else, that's going to be at the back. And I'm getting a new 1, 3, and 4. By the way, I'm getting an insurance arm as well. So I'm going to have, if I'm Mo, DeWitt, Gersh, I'm having essentially a new starting rotation in 2024, just like I had in 2000 when I won the division.
I'd be interested to see which American League team it is and what you would be getting back in return. With Steven Matz is a little bit surprising to me because it seems like they at least would try to play out that contract a little bit more. But then again, if a deal arises, then why not? But when you're talking about starting over with the starting rotation, that's just Miles Michaelis. You feel comfortable moving forward in this group and this front office and getting the guys they need in free agency. That's my question.
Comfortable with me doing it.
Okay.
But they do need to get those guys. And why not?
But what about their free agency track record recently?
It is not great. That's why they need to call me. But no, you just take it logically.
We all have it figured out, right?
Yeah. You say to yourself, okay, we're getting Aaron Nola. We are not going to be outbid for Aaron Nola. We're going to start there, and there's our number one guy.
You have to make that decision, though.
Now,
as an organization, you have to make the decision that no matter what it costs, we're going to get him. Yes. And you have to believe that he's going to be willing to come here.
That's the thing, and you need to be able and willing to blow out the budget a little bit to get that guy. That's not typical of the Cardinals, but that's, to me, what they need to do. I know enough about Steven Matz after 2 years, and I like him a lot. But I know that if I have Steven Matz in my rotation, I am not going to win the division. I'm not going to be what I need to be if he's a part of it. Now, last year he wasn't a part of it, and they had to go out and get a couple of replacements. They had to go out and get Quintana and who else did we get? Montgomery. They had to replace him last year. And I don't want a guy that every year needs to be replaced. And I again, personally like him. Now, who would be interested? Where did he have success? Toronto. Who does John Mozeliak deal with? Toronto, Yankees, Cleveland. What other? There's 4 or 5 teams that'll answer the Cardinals' calls, right? Yankees.
The Diamondbacks answering the call?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Miami. Miami will talk to him. Who else are the Cardinals really? Tampa. Okay. So
Yes.
Those are the teams. Otherwise, you look around and look for teams that the Cardinals have dealt with. There isn't much there. So I'm thinking Toronto.
Okay. It's interesting because in your defense, too, say that they do keep him around, and
They
we're
do
going to
keep him
go
around.
through. Yes, they do keep him around, and he goes through what we saw this season, where he's going to have to go into the bullpen a little bit to regain that confidence. Then that seems like a bust in a lot of ways with that contract. So if there is somebody interested, say the Rays or Toronto, as you mentioned, then you might as well do something with that. Because what have we seen time and time again where maybe even with this Tyler O'Neill situation, great performance from him last night, but it's been a while, right? Everybody's been talking about 2021 with Tyler O'Neill. It's surprising he has that many scouts around. Are they holding on to players who have been injured for too long where you're in this situation where if you don't try to do something with them, then you're going to be looking back of, well, we were holding back on that year where they were really, really good.
How long did they go down the line with Alex Reyes? And
Yes.
I don't blame them. I would have done the same thing.
Yes.
But sometimes, especially with veteran players under big contracts, it catches up to you.
You have to understand. I mean, when a player, the thing about injuries is some players are just prone to injury. There is no rhyme or reason for it. There is no, you don't understand why that person's body breaks down in the manner in which it does over and over and over again. And with Tyler O'Neill, I think, as you said, they were waiting for that version of him that was a top 10 MVP candidate. We know that it's in there, but if you're not able to stay healthy and you're not able to do it on a consistent basis, then it's difficult to trust that person in your lineup every single day.
Now, let me give you another note. Ken Rosenthal reporting that a guy that I didn't pine for, but I thought would be of interest, and Derek Gould reported that the Cardinals would have interest in him. Lance Lynn has the Cardinals on his 10-team no-trade list.
Oh, really?
Lynn's no-trade teams are the Cardinals, Padres, Dodgers, Giants, Mets, Angels, Mariners, Yankees, Rays, and Jays.
Oh,
How about that?
that's interesting.
Yeah. So looks like Lance Lynn, at least when he signed that contract in July of 2021, didn't have much interest in returning to the Lou.
So it sounds like he's going to be a future Red, huh?
I would say that that's a pretty good possibility.
That's because the Reds have been pursuing a lot. They're in a lot of the same trade rumors that the Cardinals are in because both of them are looking for starting pitching currently.
But the Reds are looking for starting pitching for now, for a stretch run.
Yes.
We're looking for, because we won last night, we're looking for starting pitching that we can utilize at the start of 2024.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, people keep bringing up, so say that you let Matz go. Does that mean that you're going to go all in maybe a little bit more in Jordan Montgomery, try to pursue him during the offseason?
No, I don't think you can do, well, maybe during the offseason, but I don't know if you're Montgomery.
Say that you rent him out.
He's done.
And then.
Yeah, I think he is too.
Yeah,
I
think he's done here.
Body language tells me that if I'm Jordan Montgomery, I don't feel trusted by this front office.
Well, I don't even know if maybe it's trusted. Maybe it's the issue with Wilson Contreras where we pretty much assume that that's where it came from. Those two not seeing eye to eye in terms of pitches and what needed to be called when and where it needed to be located. It doesn't feel like this feels like a place he wants to be going forward. Same thing with Jack Flaherty, moving on from him. My main fear is if you get rid of the entire starting rotation, except for Miles Michaelis. He's the only one returning. You truly have no clue what you're going to have next season. If you thought having 5 or 6 starters going into this season was that's a little worrisome. Having one starter for sure is even more worrisome for me.
That's why you need to have a plan. And that's why I always go back to 2000, because there was a clear and defined plan for Tony and Walt. They said, okay, we're going to go and get a specific type of pitcher. And Andy Bennis and Darryl Kyle and Pat Hennigan were all horses. They were big, strong, innings-eating right-handers. And then you add Rick Ankiel, and the one guy you bring back that year was Garrett Stevenson. So the Cardinals have talented youngsters to put at the back of the rotation, whether it's a Graceffo or a McGreevy. Maybe Liberatore will still be around. I don't know. But You need people, and you need to define, and Aaron Nola, he might lead the league in innings pitched this year. You need to define what sort of pitcher you need. And the Cardinals, we saw it last night. You can't get 5 innings out of your starters. You need to get, with this manager and this approach that the Cardinals have, you need a 6 or 7 inning starter that is paint by numbers, that makes it really easy for the manager, makes it very difficult for the manager to make a mistake with the bullpen. And the best way to do that is by having a really good starting rotation.
That was going to be my next question. If you are unable to get that starter or starters that can eat up innings, you got to help this. You got to fix this bullpen as well. This entire pitching staff,
it's bad.
It needs to be retooled, hauled over. They have to do something. It's so frustrating to watch guys go out there and not perform at their best, knowing that they have the ability to do it. We've talked about it all season long. It felt like every time Ali Marmol pushed the button, one week it was Gallegos, then the next time it was Jordan Hicks, then it was Helsley. It's been Palante. Yesterday it was JoJo Romero. It's been Stratton. It's been Verhagen. It's been every person in this bullpen at some point has gone out and just really not taking care of their business and cost the Cardinals a game.
And I can't, and by the way, Nola is second in the league in Major League Baseball in innings pitched after Logan Webb. Here's another thing that they have to define, and they haven't done a great job of it, frankly, but I can't determine this. But are the Cardinals getting the most out of their pitchers? Is Dusty Blake maximizing the abilities of these pitchers? We don't know. We know that Jordan Montgomery has terrific stuff and has been up and down. We know that Jordan Hicks has great stuff and started the season really slow, and then he's gotten better as we've gone along. But I just could not tell you if they're getting, maybe they are getting the most out of people like Flaherty, out of Genesis Cabrera. I don't know. But that's another thing that they have to figure out is, are the people that they're charging with getting the most out of their investments getting the most out of their investments?
I think that's a fair question. And we use the term rehome because we're not advocating for anybody to lose their job here. We never would want that to happen. But possibly you re-look at the pitching coach. Yeah, and you rehome the pitching coach situation because he was a pitching strategist under Maddox for 2 years prior to getting this, and then he was at Duke prior as well. And so you can question his resume a little bit. And with the way the pitching staff looks this season, it hasn't been great. And you could argue too with the starting rotation that maybe you could have seen the writing on the wall with this, but the guys have not looked great this season. It's more than Wilson Contreras and all that drama behind the plate. There's a lot more to look into here because you could question some of the game planning. You could also question some of the execution of the pitches and all that different kind of stuff. So then you start to look at maybe even this offseason as you're retooling, as you're fixing the starting rotation, that you also look at something that can help maximize that talent in there because they are really, really going to need that moving forward, especially if you're going to bring up a Gordon Graceffo and a Michael McGreevy, then you have to make sure that you're not going to have another Matthew Liberatore situation where he does fine in the minors, comes up, and then he's not getting he's not doing at least what he was doing in the minors.
I just have, it's all in all, it's a lot of questions that I have. Even last night, I'm watching, I think it was the second inning when, Alec Thomas hit the single and they scored to tie the game. It's 2 outs. Why in the hell is Nolan Arenado damn near on the infield? Like, you got to throw the runner out at first. It doesn't matter. To me, simple things like that, you're playing the infield in. I don't think that was Nolan's idea. I think that was something that was told to him. So when you have, it's just every facet of this game for the Cardinals has not been correct at different times.
Right. It's been tough. Oh, by the way, we do have a listener in Arizona that's already up and listening.
Thank you.
Nancy says it's going to be a breezy 116 today in the Valley of the Sun.
Stay cool.
And she provides us an LOL.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, so but a breeze, and it's a dry heat, so don't worry. So as Chip Carey said last night on the broadcast, you get off the plane and it's like somebody shooting a hairdryer into your face.
Yes, that is exactly what dry heat feels like. I remember the first time I experienced that was in Texas, or no, I can't remember where it was, but I was like, what is this? Because I was just used to humidity for so long.
It's amazing. Hottest I've ever been in my life, by the way, was San Antonio. San Antonio is hot.
San Antonio is hot.
Yeah.
It is ridiculously hot. Yeah. I agree.
And they have a lot of asphalt there, so just beware. Go to San Antonio for the Final Four or something. Coming up next on 101 ESPN, our buddy Stan McNeal from Cardinals Magazine talking some ball here on 101 ESPN.
This is Rocc here with your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Cardinals yesterday with a 10-6 win over the Diamondbacks take their first of this 3-game series. They were up early in 5-2, but then in the 5th, and then they allowed 4 runs across the 6th and the 7th. But a 5-run top of the 9th seals the Cardinals win in Arizona. They'll have game 2 later on tonight. It's 8:40 first pitch here. Local time, it'll be Steven Matz 1-7 on the season, facing off against former Cardinal Zach Gallen. Also yesterday, St. Louis City SC revealed their new president and GM, Diego Gigliani. That is your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff. Find new roads and shop 24/7 at londoff.com and londoffautoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
Brooke Grimsley, Super Bowl champ, Kerry Davis, Randy Carricker. Great to have you with us here on 101 ESPN. And our friend from Cardinals Magazine, Stan McNeal, joins us quite often here on Tuesday mornings here on 101 ESPN. Good morning, Stan. How you doing?
Good morning, Randy. I'm dragging a little bit, but I guess it's worth it. I stayed up through the finish of the game last night.
I did too, and so did Brooke. Kerry dozed, but that's okay. He's
8th inning.
That'll do it.
Yeah, okay.
Hey, as we get started here, everybody in St. Louis just loved the Albert Pujols story, and you're chronicling that. The Cardinal Publications Group is chronicling the Albert Pujols book. Tell us what you got coming up.
The Legend of 5 yearbook. Yeah, this is going to be great. This is a look at back at Albert's career, focusing on the years he was with the Cardinals, of course, and just to start with, going through those year by years, the guy was just incredible. The numbers he put up season after season. Part of the yearbook, a big part of the yearbook, is we talk to former teammates, opponents, friends, and we just have some great stories from guys. Let me tell you one about Albert and Placido Polanco. You know, they're good buddies and have been pretty much since Albert's first spring training with the Cardinals. And what Placido was saying was that Albert was in the clubhouse, you know, early in camp. He's 21-year-old kid in his first big league camp, doesn't really know how things work. But he's already married and has a child at the time. And so C.J. Sherry, the traveling secretary at the time, is telling Albert, no, you have to share a room. You have to share a hotel room because you're on a non-roster invitee, you know. And Albert's like, you know, I can't do that. I've got a family. And just happenstance, Placido walks by and kind of overhears him and really has only met Albert once at that point, and that was in the previous season. But he's listening to him, and Placido offers Albert a room at his condo that he's renting for the spring training. And Albert goes, "You do that for me?" You know, and so Placido says, "Sure." Albert and his family lived in Placido's condo in spring training, and Albert ended up renting an apartment near Polanco once the season started in St. Louis, and here they are. 22, 23 years later, still close friends.
That's great.
That's awesome.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff like that, you know, kind of behind the scenes, just what made Albert kind of tick type things.
Stan, we were, of course, everybody was a little excited when the Cardinals had a little bit of a win streak going on, but the Cubs kind of brought everything back into reality that we are heading into more of a seller's mode with the Cardinals going to the trade deadline. How many players do you think that the Cardinals will part with here?
You know, that's I have no idea. I know that I just know that trading guys isn't as easy as it seems sometimes, you know, especially this year, the situation the Cardinals are in. You know, Mo, when he was talking with the media last week, was saying that, you know, this is not a rebuild. You know, they want to contend in 2024. So he's looking at guys, prospects that are not too young, kind of AA and above like that. And, you know, when you start talking about prospects, you start talking about you know. So I just think it's going to be difficult. It'd be nice to see some good young arms move into the system at what cost that is. It will be it will be costly for sure. But at this point, the way things are going, Mo said it himself, things aren't working. They've got to make some changes. So I would think we'll see a handful at least.
Stan, you said it's not a rebuild, but it kind of feels like it as it pertains to this pitching staff. How is it possible that the Cardinals go into next season with one starting pitcher that was on this year's rotation?
Anything's possible. I still have faith in Steven Matz. I think that he's going to end up, as a solid part of that rotation. He's looked better this season recently, and he's got a couple of months here to kind of solidify his spot in the rotation. So kind of put him in there with Miles, and beyond that, though, it depends on if they can bring back, say, Monty or Jack as free agents, or if Matthew Liberatore, he's had a kind of a tough go of it here lately, but you're not going to give up on him. He's only 23 years old, so there'll be some holes in there, that's for sure.
Stan, tell us about the current edition of Cardinals Magazine.
Well, we have our Nolan Gorman issue out, and it's let's see.
He got hot once he was on the cover of the magazine.
He got hot. He's dealing with a little back issue now. But
how long do you think he's had that?
About a week back.
I cannot. Wait, why did you guys do that to Stan? Stan's just...
No, I love that.
Thank you. We're glad that you love it because Brooke doesn't.
It's he had that earlier in the season, so it's something that he's dealt with. Hopefully it doesn't keep him down long because he was getting hot again.
And you guys do great work. The magazine's always fabulous. Not only the content in the magazine, but just the stock of the paper and the quality of the photos. It's fantastic, and we always appreciate it. Stan, thanks so much for the time. We appreciate you.
Thanks, Randy. Thanks for having me.
You got it. Have a great day. That's Stan McNeal, Cardinals Magazine, here on 101 ESPN.
Let's line it up, Stan.
Well,
we appreciate it.
You guys just set him up for that. You guys set him up for that. That's not even fair.
Did you see the text line?
What?
There was somebody. The texters are just playing into it. Somebody set it up for themselves and everything. And don't worry, we got it.
Yeah,
oh my gosh!
He said it. He said it was a back injury.
Yeah, it's not us.
We went along with it. We did. And he said he loves it.
He's just trying to tell us about the magazine and the Cardinals, and you guys just set him right up for that joke.
Oh, man.
By the way, Gorman with a 945 OPS this month, 5 homers, 15 RBIs. 5 doubles, too, so 10 extra base hits in his 69 plate appearances. When he hits the ball moves, man.
Yes.
It flies off of his bat. And
which is why he can't leave this organization.
No, not unless you're going to get
23.
You got to get something extraordinary.
Starting pitchers.
To do it.
You got to get an ace.
A young, controllable ace.
Yes.
I think there's 3 guys. 3, maybe.
Sandy Alcantara?
Yes, 4 guys then.
Would you?
Ironically, I would do Alcantara and Gallen. Yeah.
Okay.
Which would they come back?
Well, you got to trade Nolan for. Nolan's from Arizona too. He would
go. Love to go back there.
Yeah, probably.
Who were the other 2 you said? Was it Cease?
Dylan Cease?
And who was the
one
last
of them?
one? Was
and
it?
Then who was it?
Was it the Mariners pitcher?
No, it wasn't.
Gilbert? Is that who you're thinking of?
Gilbert.
It was not Logan Gilbert.
Even though his name has been brought up. But that seems to have died off a little bit.
Yeah.
Not Giolito. Giolito's a free agent after this year.
Yeah, it was.
Was it Giolito? No.
No, I think it was Framber Valdez, but I'm not positive. But anyway, it's teams with pitchers that they would not give up. Basically, it's the old "who says no" game, right? Because
the Cardinals
it's just such a
have
ridiculous.
to say no.
Yeah, it's just so ridiculous that yes, man.
Can I throw out one question that we've been getting a lot today? Do you think the unsolved question around Wilson Contreras and who will be behind the plate for the Cardinals next year will affect the free agent discussions with pitchers?
No, money is what talks.
Yeah, I don't think that would be too much of a giant concern for them. Maybe a little bit, and I have seen some people texting that into the text line. I think that is a fair question when you see all the kerfuffle, or what is the other word we use? The kerfuffle, the brouhaha that we saw with some of the pitchers in Wilson Contreras this season, and look at how much they've limited his playing time here recently.
Right.
It does make it interesting.
And then they sent Herrera down yesterday.
Yes.
What are we doing sending Herrera down?
That was more of a numbers game, is what it looked like. Not saying I agree with it, but it was more of a numbers game because you activated Adam Wainwright, right? And then you brought in Suarez, and you know that Waino can only go 5 innings, and so that's why.
You're always being logical, Brooke.
I know. I'm sorry. I ruined the fun because I know a lot of people were upset about it.
So Herrera was the choice to go down? There's somebody else on the roster.
Yeah. Tomater. Taylor Motter.
He started for you last night.
Hey, he got a hit, right?
There you go.
Did that happen? I think I saw that because I texted you guys. I said, with every hit he gets, his hair grows. His hair does look longer.
It does look good.
We had, by the way,
Everybody got a hit last night.
We have a
Basically.
we have a show text, and I got. Let me see. Hold on. Let me check. So I provided a beautiful GIF or GIF, whatever way you want to call it, of Mater. And Matthew is the only one that responded and laughed.
No, I laughed. I did laugh.
You just laughed
internally.
Internally, okay. Yeah.
Internally, it was so funny. No, the tomater. Look. We like Taylor Motter here.
Yes.
There's just some questions. That's it.
I mean,
Just some
good for him.
questions.
He's getting an opportunity to play. Make the most of it.
Exactly. Let that hair flow.
I'm for the people.
Let
especially
that hair
the people
flow.
that are struggling to stay on rosters.
Yeah.
Those are my guys.
How old is he, Tomater?
Tomater?
Yeah.
Oh, let's see.
I think he's in his 30s.
Is he
Is he?
really?
Good for him. Just keep fighting.
1989. So yes, he's in his 30s. He's 33.
Oof.
He's 33.
Yes, he is. And his hair is
way.
that long?
Good for him.
Coming up, it's Teal to get your text into the Air Comfort Service text line 314-399-9646. 314-399. Yo-ho! We've got Take It or Leave It next on 101 ESPN. Hey, folks, it's going to be 100 degrees in St. Louis on Thursday. And if you haven't had your furnace or your air conditioner checked, you need to get it checked from my friends at Hoffman Brothers. You know, if you haven't had your air conditioner tuned up, you need to know that now's the time to get that tune-up scheduled. Don't wait until it stops working. The maintenance on your air conditioner once a year is just as important as changing the oil in your car. So call today or schedule online at HoffmanBros.com. Hoffman Brothers, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer, and they do so much for the community. And if you're a Hoffman Brothers Home Protection Plan member, well, you can get in for as little as $34 a month and join the club. And you not only get 2 semi-annual visits on your heating and cooling system, but free filters shipped to your home, discounts across all of their home service lines that include heating and cooling, plumbing, electrical, sewers, drains, and more. And the best part is, you can schedule your service online 24/7 at Hoffman Bros, HOFFMANN, HoffmanBros.com. We are Protection Plan members at the Carricker household and very happy to be customers of Hoffman Brothers Heating, Cooling, Electrical, and Plumbing. Join the Hoffman Brothers Club today. Give them a call at 314-664-3011 or find them on the web at HoffmanBros.com.
it, you can take it. If you don't, send it right back.
Get your text into 314-399-9646 and give us your take it or leave it.
Brought to you by Gloria Lou Realty. Visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com and start packing.
That's my final offer. Take it or leave it.
With Brooke Grimsley and Kerry Davis and Matthew Rocchio, I'm Randy Carricker. It is the opening drive on 101 ESPN. Get your text in to the Air Comfort Service text line for Take It or Leave It, 314-399-9646, 314-399-YO-HO. We're still waiting for Kerry to return. Here he comes.
He's coming.
There he is. I wondered if he was getting coffee or something.
No, he was going over to Casey.
Oh, okay. Good. All right, kids. Lionel Messi house hunting in Miami and looking at huge mansions with photos. This is on TMZ.com. Take it or leave it. By the end of this year, by the end of 2023, we will see TMZ photos of Mbappe scoping out homes in Ladue and Town and Country.
I'm going to leave that.
Ladue and Town.
I'm going to leave. You think TMZ's going to come to St. Louis?
Yeah, for that.
Oh, okay.
The unbelievable part is a reporter coming from L.A. to St. Louis. That's the unbelievable part of that story.
That is
Mbappe?
the most intriguing part of that. I'm gonna leave that, Randy. I saw a number the other day. I don't know. I've seen a lot of numbers.
312 million?
It's a lot. It's a lot of money.
Well, that was the transfer fee. And then it was a $700 million salary.
That's what I saw.
So it's
like
always
$64 million a month.
Yes.
That's insane.
Good luck.
Well, it's enterprise money. just rent a few more cars,
If it's
kids.
not ours, just spend it.
I think Leo, his last contract with Barcelona or PSG was $300,000 a week.
DiCaprio?
Lionel Messi.
Oh, okay. Lionel Messi.
You're hilarious, Randy. So I was looking at some numbers. I was looking at some numbers earlier today, and Aaron Rodgers had 3,695 yards passing, 28 touchdowns, and 12 interceptions. Take it or leave it. Jordan Love eclipses 4,000 yards this year.
Leave it.
Oh.
Leave it.
I don't know, Randy.
Okay, give me your reasoning, and then I'll base it off of that.
Well, so I think with obviously Aaron Rodgers started off really slow last year with the younger receivers, those guys dropping passes. One thing that you do get when you are a younger quarterback, you get to work with the younger receivers. So I think there's a little bit of familiarity there. I think they're going to be – and Jordan Love has not been a slouch in his opportunities that he's had at the quarterback position for the Green Bay Packers. They run the ball well with those two running backs, hand the ball off, throw it to him. I think he's going to have a really good season. And I think he could eclipse 4,000 yards.
I don't know. I might have to leave it. I don't know. There's so many question marks that I have with the Packers this season.
Somebody's got to win the division.
Yeah. Kirk Cousins is going to win the division.
My apologies.
Oh,
my apologies.
Yes.
I clearly.
The receivers are second-year guys, Christian Watson and Romeo Doubs, who had some pretty decent moments with Rodgers last year. And then they've got a rookie starting in the slot, Jalen Reed, and a rookie starting at tight end in Luke Musgrave. They need to keep their offensive line healthy, but I think the most important thing you said here is when you have Aaron Rodgers, you have no choice but to throw the ball. From what I understand, Matt LaFleur wants to run the ball. Matt LaFleur wants to do more of what Kyle Shanahan does in San Francisco with those two backs, and they want to run the ball and not put it up in the air as much.
He didn't run it enough for me last year. Aaron Jones needed the ball, needed more touches, in my opinion, last year.
But you had to feed Aaron Rodgers. You had to feed that ego.
Yeah, it's going to be intriguing to see how him and Dillon in the backfield, Aaron Jones and Dillon in the backfield. I would love to see them run the ball more, but they just didn't do it enough.
Lions or Packers?
Ooh, that one is interesting.
I'm going to say Lions.
I think I am too.
A little bit of hesitancy.
Yeah.
It's a really good thing C.J. Gardner-Johnson's was okay.
Yeah, it is.
I think that would have shifted your answer a little bit.
He didn't tear it up, so
yeah.
I'm back here shortly.
Take it or leave it. Every once in a while, I'll get on a conspiracy theory, and I'm starting to believe this one a little bit more.
Oh, no.
Take it or leave it. Elon Musk is purposely trying to tank Twitter because what in the world is going on? thank you to Matthew Rocc for bringing this to my attention, because I've been half paying attention to the story. I thought that it was more of a joke that he was going to rename Twitter X. I didn't think that was seriously going to happen. And then Matthew pointed out to me today that if you go on the web browser version of Twitter, if you type it on the old internet, that you'll see that the X is there on Twitter now.
Is it?
Yes.
I'm taking it.
I haven't seen it.
I fully believe that he is purposely tanking Twitter.
I agree.
Because what is the X? Why X? Is he naming after his child? What is his child's name again?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's like a long, it's like a math problem, is what his child's name sounds
Pi?
like. No.
Algebra?
Let's see.
You're not going to be able to pronounce it.
Elon Musk.
Okay.
Someone, I don't know what this. I don't know anything.
Did you find it? XAEAXII.
What the? Come on.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to pronounce it.
Who owns?
no idea.
Is he
Not even that.
SpaceX?
Yes, he is.
So there you go.
He
just
why
likes
is
the letter
everything
X.
is X? Why?
Z.
Be careful.
Also, if you want to dive deep in this conspiracy, here's the deal. I'll dive deeper here. I think it's because he wanted to change the logo from something blue because it looks like Facebook, and he's mad at Zuckerberg because Twitter was blue with like a white around it, and Facebook has always been white with the blue with the white around it. I think the logo looked too much like Facebook, and he wanted it to be black because he's all like hardcore, and he's like, I'm gonna fight Zuckerberg in a cage match, and I'll never wear pink.
He couldn't just
He's one of
turn the
those
bird
guys.
black and call it Twitter.
Nope, he had to make it X.
Let's get to a text line
Okay.
or two.
Take it or leave it. Waino hits the
great.
over on 200.
Take it. 201. Yep. Yeah, just
How
let
many
him-
more starts does he have left?
Yeah, 11 or 12.
Okay, let's take it.
And he'll give. He only
gonna
threw
have to
76
pitch.
pitches. He'll get to 85 pitches next game. 90. Well, no, he's Waino, so they'll let him throw 100, but no more than 100.
Take it or leave it. Robot AI umpires are soon to come into the league.
Take it. 25.
You know what I despise is umpires getting so upset about their terrible calls and then wanting to throw managers out. Bro, the call was terrible, except like it was 2-3 inches off the plate. Like it wasn't close. And then you call that same pitch a ball, then the next time you call it a strike. I too would be frustrated, and I just don't understand the sensitivity, the thin-skinnedness of umpires when they are wrong. Like if you're wrong, just say, don't show me up. No, don't make dumbass calls, sir. Just do your job.
But
Are
that's
you
part of the
mad that I'm
drama.
incompetent?
Yes, I am.
Oh, it will make. I will kind of miss sometimes a little bit the drama, because what do you get a manager thrown out for now?
Yeah, with replay, that's the balls and strikes are all we got, right?
I want it.
That's
some
it.
of the best moments
Of chaos, right.
have it. Yeah, just the drama. But I'm sure it'll be a little bit more relaxing for the players and the manager.
And actually, there's a nugget on Ken Rosenthal's latest wrap-up piece on The Athletic where he talked to a manager at the AA level, and he's talking about how players, because they're using it down at the AA level in some games, he's talking about how it's actually helping the young kids because they never have to worry about if they're getting screwed by the ump. They never have to worry about arguing. They're not mad when they come back after a bad at bat. They just have to deal with how they their process was wrong. So I think in the long run it is good. Take it or leave it. Mason Wynn is more untouchable than Jordan Walker.
Leave it.
Oh, I'm going to leave that.
I'm going to leave
it.
that as well.
Jordan Walker is very, very important. Mason Wynn is very important. I don't think that's a tough one, but I think it'd be harder to move and part with Jordan Walker.
J-Dub's already done it at the major league level.
Yes.
I'm excited to see them play.
Me too.
On
It'll
the
be
same
fun.
field, in the
Yeah.
same lineup.
Take it or leave it. Hicks can get you a Gleyber Torres-like prospect.
Ooh,
So that's back on the Yankees comparison again.
And the Yankees got 4 players, including Gleyber Torres. I'm going to leave that because Aroldis Chapman had been the best closer in the game, and they knew when the Cubs got him that he could be the final piece of the puzzle. Kind of got overused in the postseason by Joe Madden, but we understood their thought process. I don't think Jordan Hicks has that sort of history to be thought of as a guy that can be the closer for a world championship team. But I think the Cardinals can get a lot for him if they decide to move him.
Yes, I agree.
Take it or leave it. Kisner starts opening day catcher.
Leave it.
2024.
Leave it.
Leave
I'm going
it.
to leave that.
Man.
Will he still be here?
So
Good question.
Ivan Herrera?
Opening
Ivan
day
Herrera?
catcher
No.
for somebody
Ivan Herrera?
else?
No.
Yeah.
It is going to be Wilson Contreras. How much you pay him, Randy?
On opening day?
87.5 over 5.
To do what?
CD, you aren't wrong. To catch.
Do what? Oh, okay.
To be your DH?
Money talks.
Oh, no.
I don't know. Money's not
Utility
talking
player.
currently.
Well,
that's the issue
Do
right
you
there.
think
Utility player.
I told you all how these conversations go. Mozeliak called and said, "Hey, Mr. DeWitt, I know you signed this check for an $87 million catcher, but he's not going to catch for us going forward. We're going to put him at DH, possibly in the outfield." And Mr. DeWitt said, "I hear you, and no."
So here's what happens opening day next year in my dreams. At the behest of Joe Madden, Mike Borzello does get Wilson Contreras fully prepared on the off day before opening day to catch on opening day.
Okay.
Is that the only day he catches?
Yes.
Oh, my.
It's going to be very less frequent. I think we are getting a preview of how they're going to handle Wilson Contreras moving forward. And it is very frustrating that you spend over $87 million and he's going to be on your bench. That's somebody who should be an everyday player, but they're just not utilizing him in that way. And maybe they can put in some things in place this offseason, but as of right now, looks like they feel more comfortable with him as their DH, or when he's not their DH, then he's on the bench, and then sometimes he's catching.
Okay, one last thing. More frustrating that the Cardinals are spending $87.5 million over 5 on Wilson Contreras. More frustrating for Brooke Grimsley or Bill DeWitt Jr.?
Bill DeWitt.
I think Bill DeWitt, because I'm not signing those checks. It doesn't affect me whatsoever.
Coming up next, there were a half a dozen scouts in the stands in Arizona last night. Assuming Tyler O'Neill gets traded, we've got a list of players, and one's got to go. That's next on 101 ESPN.
Hey, it's Kerry, and if you're dealing with pain, I've got some great news for you. My friend Dr. Sheen can help you. You know, the older we get, the more pain our bodies can feel. I've been dealing with pain for quite some time. Sometimes it's my ankles, my knees, my shoulders. Lately, it's been my elbows, I'm assuming from blocking all those linebackers. And I thought I'd have to deal with this pain until I met Dr. Sheen, and he taught me about PBM. What is PBM? Big word, easy explanation. It's photobiomodulation. It's simply light therapy that helps you heal. The light stimulates cells cells in the damaged area, which allows your body to heal itself faster, decreases inflammation, and it helps eliminate pain and discomfort. Even after my first treatment, my elbows started feeling much better. My knees have been feeling better. I've been able to do more workouts that I did in the past that I didn't think I would be able to do anymore. And my physical therapist noticed much less inflammation than I've had in the past. If you want to feel better, if you want to feel like you did 5-10 years ago, visit Dr. Sheen and give him a call or reach out to him online today at thesvi.com. That's thesvi.com, and tell him Kerry sent you.
Fresh perspective on the day's top stories. It's the Opening Drive's Fresh Take.
Brought to you by Schnucks Rewards. Reward yourself. Earn 2% back on every purchase with the Schnucks Rewards app.
Cardinal at every base. The pitch. Swing, drive, hammer toward left. The ball is down and into the corner. 2-run score. Here comes Nootbaar out third. He's getting waved. O'Neill clears him with a double.
Chip carried the call last night on Bally Sports. It's 8:05. Time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. In the opening drive, you got Brooke Grimsley, Brooke Grimsley. You've got Kerry Davis, you've got Randy Carricker, and that's Tyler O'Neill's big hit last night, and there were a half a dozen Major League scouts in the stands to see him. Cardinals didn't have anybody else on the field that they are outwardly looking to trade, although it could happen. But here's my thing, guys. I was thinking about this. Assuming Tyler O'Neill gets traded, you've got this group of outfielders. You've got Jordan Walker, Dylan Carlson, Tommy Edman, Alec Burleson, Lars Nootbaar, and let's throw Brendan Donovan in there. You're going to trade one other because you have such a glut of outfielders, and you want to get some people back and maybe throw one of them in as a package deal. Okay, here's what I'm thinking. One's got to go, and I'm going to pick the guy with the lowest upside. So while I like the guy a lot and I love the versatility, I like Walker's upside way better than Tommy Edman's. I like Carlson's upside better than Tommy Edman's. I like Alec Burleson for his role as a fourth outfielder better than Tommy Edman. I like Nootbaar's upside better than Edman, and I like Donovan's upside as a young player better than Tommy Edman. If I have one to go, and I never thought that I would say this, but Tommy Edman would be the guy that I would move in a deal. I think other teams love him. He spent a lot of last season in the top 3 in WAR in the National League, and he's a really good player. I'm not saying that I would get rid of him because he's not a good player, but I do think that other guys that the Cardinals have are younger, they have more control, and they have higher upside. So if one's got to go for me after Tyler O'Neill, the other outfielder that I'm moving is Tommy Edman.
It's interesting because what do you think about his versatility? Is that not something that you think that the Cardinals would be high on keeping around?
I think so, but how many of those guys do you need? Because you've got Carlson, you've got Brendan Donovan too. How many of those guys, those Swiss Army knife guys, do you need? Because I'm assuming that Walker is going to play in the outfield and Nootbaar is going to play in the outfield, right? And then Arenado, Mason Wynn, Goldy, and I need a spot for Nolan Gorman.
I think that Tommy Edman would be very hard to part with because of his versatility, because of his glove, and having that around. But to your point that I will give you on this, is that it seems like they're fine with, especially the season, with the way that they're moving forward. They're more about what you can do with your bat rather than what you can do defensively. Now, Nolan Arenado will always be Nolan, right? Paul Goldschmidt will always be Paul Goldschmidt, but it seems like all the other positions they were completely fine with this season, moving away from defensively.
And I know they say Tommy Edman's the best center fielder they have. I like Dylan Carlson's defense. And I think if Dylan Carlson is given reps and is healthy, that he has a much greater upside because of his power than Edman does.
I think I'm in agreement with Brooke because of Tommy Edman's versatility. Not knowing who's going to be catching and who's going to be DHing and where you have to slot people. For me, I think it would be Alec Burleson would be the one that I would move along with Tyler O'Neill. He's left-handed bat. The only issue, Randy, they are all so young, and you have to understand what Dylan Carlson is 24.
Yes.
Jordan Walker is 21. Alec Burleson is 24. Nootbaar is 25. They are all so young and just beginning their careers. That's going to be hard for the Cardinals if these guys go on and be stars.
They have to be good evaluators.
But it's part of the business. Brendan Donovan, 26. He's a little bit older.
This is another thing. I feel like I know more about Edman than any of these guys.
Mm-hmm.
I think I know more about it. So now I'm kind of on the fence. I'm wavering a little bit because Brendan Donovan may be another one that I trust Edman in center field. I love what I saw in center field. Not the greatest arm, but his athletic ability, his ability to play middle infield, play center field. You want to be strong up the middle. Brendan Donovan is going to bring his bat. He's got 5 gloves. But when you're a utility guy, you have value for a lot of teams, which means you could possibly be on the move as well.
I could see a lot of teams being enamored with him, but my only thing is that I think the likelihood of them moving Dylan Carlson, I think that that's something that is still a pretty high probability. So that being the case, you have to keep Edman around, in my opinion, because to me, when it comes to tiers of best defensive center fielder, it's going to be Dylan Carlson, then Tommy Edman.
Agreed.
And so if they are going to move Dylan Carlson, which I don't want to see him go, I'm not saying that. I don't want to see him go. It's more of that it just seems like it's panning out in that way. We saw all the conversations they had. It seems like they still aren't convinced about him versus righties, and maybe that's just they haven't given enough opportunities, different things like that. But I can see them parting ways with Dylan Carlson, especially it's going to be dependent on what's available and what they can get in return.
Right. And by the way, this is a blatant ripoff of BK and Ferrario's show, One's Got to Go. And that's the game. One's got to go. So we have to, because we like them all. And even Alec Burleson, who I never thought that I would say, okay, man, he's got a chance. Second half, he's hitting .385 with a .962 on base. In the month of July, hitting .326 with an .824 OPS. He's got 3 doubles, a homer, in 50 plate appearances. He's slugging .457 and has, it seems like, just the way he's put together, seems like he would have the ability to give you even more. Whoever you trade, I think they have a chance to become a star. I think the guy that has the lowest chance to come back and really haunt you as a big-time offensive player is Tommy Edman.
I could see that. I think if you're talking about offensively.
Yeah. Offensively, yes.
Yeah.
If I personally could pick, then it would be Burleson. I'd be fine with moving on with him, but I think he's doing his part as a 4th outfielder where you feel just fine with plugging him in every once in a while. But that's a tough list because I'm sure we'll get some text in where it says, well, why is Nootbaar the untouchable one? I've seen that all over social media. Why is Nootbaar the untouchable one? They see, it seems like, from the reports from Derek Gould, Katie Wu, and many others who cover this team day in, day out, that they see Lars Nootbaar as a part of that 2024 one of the pieces when they're looking at building around this team.
Nootbaar is an analytics darling. The analytics people in baseball love him.
Yes.
So
and you even saw his plate discipline on display last night.
Big time.
Which one of these guys is going to be a starter if they go to another organization? Now, the other ones, is Brendan Donovan going to start?
Depends on the team, but
probably not.
The one guy who is among the people that we've discussed as possibilities, Carlson.
Carlson is going to start. Walker is going to start. Nootbaar is going to start.
Yes.
So those are the ones, and probably Tommy Edman.
Yep.
So those are the ones that, if you're worried about trading and watching them have great success, it's based on how many opportunities they get. If they're starting every day, they're going to get way more opportunities. Burleson and Brendan Donovan probably wouldn't be starters, which means they're not going to get as many opportunities, which means it's probably not going to hurt as bad.
Because you just don't have to see him all the time.
Yeah.
Right. And you're 100% right about a guy like Edman. Just think about it from this perspective, okay? If you're the Dodgers and you have Tommy Edman on your team, he starts at shortstop ahead of Miguel Rojas. And he probably starts, well, I don't know if he would start ahead of James Outman, but he might start ahead of Peralta in that outfield. So there's a chance that Edman, if you would trade him to L.A., would be a huge part of it. I guarantee you that if Tommy Edman were with the Giants, he would start at the most important position that they have right now, whether it's short or second. Mm-hmm. And if he went to the Yankees, he would be starting at multiple positions. He wouldn't be starting ahead of Bader in center field, but he'd be starting on the middle infield somewhere. So Tommy Edman, wherever he goes, he's going to start every single day.
Right. Yes. That'd be a huge loss.
If it would be a huge loss.
But here's the thing is this is a position that they put themselves in this season where you're going to have to deal with some of those painful trades.
And you better get good stuff back. That's the bottom line. If you're the Cardinals, you're going to make trades that hurt. You better get good stuff back. Next up, should the Cardinals concentrate on getting young players like Ivan Herrera more playing time, even if it's at the expense of winning? That's coming your way on 101 ESPN. Hey, if you want an experienced agent to help you sell your home, you need to get in touch with Gloria Liu at Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Gloria's number, 314-325-6888, 314-325-6888, or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. You know, she's got over 20 years of experience, and if you ask the James family in St. Charles, they'll tell you. The Glovers in Florissant will tell you. The Monroes in Chesterfield, and so many more families who trusted Gloria Liu and her amazing team. Now, if you're thinking about selling your home, call Gloria Liu and start packing because she's going to sell fast. Her name is her promise and says it all. Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Gloria's mastered the home selling promise by guaranteeing upfront and in writing to sell your home at your agreed to price and time frame, or she'll buy it herself, and that's guaranteed. Does your agent compare? Gloria has solutions for every type of home seller. For sellers who want that fast sale with no hassles, that 24-hour cash offer solution is a great option to consider. Call Gloria 314-325-6888 or find her on the web at GloriaHasTheBuyers.com.
I don't look at that stuff anymore. I mean, we're so far behind right now, but we got to go out and compete. Still got to set, like I said, set the example, find ways, find some motivation. However you got to do it, and go out and compete best you can.
That's Cardinals third baseman Nolan Arenado, who wants to compete, but also says he wants to set an example. And we're getting close to that point where the Cardinals are going to make deals and they're going to be trading away veteran players that are going to substantially reduce the Cardinals' opportunity to win. With that being the case, guys, I look at this as a great opportunity for the Cardinals to evaluate a young player, specifically Mason Wynn, get Herrera into the lineup on a regular basis. And if you're the Cardinals, spend August and September, like Nolan said, we're already so far out of it. We're so far behind, it doesn't matter now. Get experience and evaluation for people like Ivan Herrera and Mason Wynn, even if it means you're going to win fewer games. That's where I stand right now.
Yeah, I think this is one of the youngest teams in the major leagues, and is it fourth youngest team?
Second youngest in the National League, yeah.
Fourth in the majors, I believe. So they are extremely young. You got guys that are still learning how to be professionals, and that's a huge part to having success. If I'm Nolan Arenado, if I'm Paul Goldschmidt, I'm probably a little bit frustrated knowing that we want to win now. We're on Paul Goldschmidt is on the back nine, right? He's on the tail end of it. At some point, we're going to come to, it's going to be the end of it. So I want to win. I want to have guys around me that know how to win, how to finish games, and the only way you can gain that is through experience. It's just going to be a rough finish to the season. It's been a rough season throughout, but it's going to be a rough finish to the season if you allow those young players to just bump their head and learn how to play the game the right way.
Yeah, I agree. At this point, you might as well see what you have because you need to see what Mason Wynn looks like. Get him some major league experience. And then for the pitchers, we talk about this group being young, which they are, and Nolan Arenado has mentioned that as well, that this is a young group. Offensively, yes, but pitching-wise, not really. Right. I mean, there's a lot of guys with experience, especially in the starting rotation, and you're going to move on from Jack Flaherty. Jack Flaherty, Jordan Montgomery are going to be gone by the trade deadline. So you need to bring up Michael McGreevy and even possibly Gordon Graceffo to see what they look like so that you know that you have more clarification heading into the free agency so that you don't make another strategic mistake when it comes to evaluating your pitching during the offseason.
And I don't know if Paul Goldschmidt at this stage of his career feels differently, but I remember sitting with him at a baseball writers dinner a few years ago, and I think it was Flaherty and Edman that were co-rookies of the year for the Cardinals. And I said, isn't it amazing how, it might have been his first year here. I said, isn't it amazing how the Cardinals always bring up young players? And he said, that's why I'm here, because they always bring up young players. And I know that we're going to have a chance to be good because they're always reinforcing what we have with young players. Now, I don't know if he wants to have this much inexperience next year, but it might be what he has.
Some of the onus is on the veteran players too, though. They have to be what Albert Pujols did last year. We talk about on the field how exciting that was. For me, the most important thing that he did was off the field. On the bench, in the dugout, you could see having conversations with Lars Nootbaar, having those conversations with guys, and really explaining Juan Yepes, showing them the aspects of the game. Those are things you can't get from your hitting coach. You can't get from a tutorial online. That is real live experience from one of the best players to have ever played the game. If the Cardinals want to have success, Nolan Arenado is going to have to do that. Paul Goldschmidt is going to have to do that. They're going to have to take some of these younger players under their wings and have conversations with them. And I don't know if that's what they're doing or not, but we were able to see it last season in the dugout with Albert Pujols, which makes a huge difference. It gives players confidence. The only thing that helps you succeed in this league, in any league, to be a professional athlete is how much confidence you have, how much belief. You already have the talent. If you believe you can do it, then you're going to have that success.
And you lead into what I was going to say, because we're talking about giving up wins. Well, do you have a better chance of winning? And Paul DeJong won't be here, but here's the question. Better chance of winning in August and September with Mason Wynn playing shortstop or Paul DeJong playing shortstop? Probably even, right?
I would assume so.
Yeah,
There's going to be a learning curve a little bit with Wynn, of course.
Yeah, Steven Matz or Michael McGreevy, Ivan Herrera or Wilson Contreras. Do they really give you any less chance of winning at this point?
No.
I'm not sure that they do. So I'm really on board with those young players getting reps, getting familiarity at the major league level, and being more ready for 2024 than they would be if they didn't get any time at all with the Cardinals this year.
Well, and you already had your Pobo go out to the media and say that this is how they're approaching the trade deadline, right? They're looking ahead to 2024. Of course, your players, as you mentioned, CD, are going to be like, well, I'm trying to win now, but they realize the situation. They can pretend like they don't look at the standings. They know where they're at right now. Mm-hmm. And if you are looking ahead to 2024, then you might as well bring up some of these young players and see where they're at. Ivan Herrera, the strides that he has made this season really makes me feel a little bit more comfortable with this whole catching situation. And when I say that, it's not that I'm saying that I'm happy with what's going on. I'm saying, obviously, they don't feel comfortable with putting Wilson Contreras out there every single day. Having Ivan Herrera to make those strides this season makes you feel comfortable with the future of the catching position moving forward.
I hope that they get him more ingrained as their catcher down the stretch. One other guy that I have questions about, and this is based on the last segment we had with all of the outfield talent that the Cardinals have. One of your guys, Brooke, what do you do with Moises Gomez?
That's a good question.
I mean, do you trade him at the deadline? I mean, does he have a chance here? He's the one guy that they haven't brought up and given an opportunity to. Even if you bring him up, and I don't know where you would fit him in on the roster, let alone in the lineup.
That's the question, because he's an outfielder.
Right. I don't know if the Cardinals have a spot for him, and he's having another pretty good year. Let me get you what he's got this year. Moises Gomez. Oh, I got the wrong Moises Gomez. But anyway, he's having another good year, and I wonder if it might be smart for the Cardinals just to try to move him at this deadline too.
Yeah, right now, 229 average, 764 OPS. Okay.
He does have 22 home runs.
Yeah, 22 home runs. That's definitely a big bright spot.
Yep.
That's interesting. I mean, the thing is if you haven't brought him up, even when they were having all that whole outfield situation with injuries, then I don't know when they would be bringing him up.
Right. So why not move him? Why? Because you've got other outfielders in the system, and at some point, he's not going to be as valuable as he is right now. And he's only 24 years old. So that's another one that I would, if I were in their shoes, I would look at moving and find out what kind of value he has. And maybe he's just value added when you put together a package to try to get your starter. It's the opening drive on 101 ESPN coming up. We've got a guy that won yesterday, right? What's his name?
Joe's returning for round two.
You don't remember his name?
No.
Nameless faces, Brooke.
just another person.
I'm always amazed, by the way, when I watch documentaries about serial killers that they do remember their victims' names.
Are you comparing yourself? The bludgeon is next on the opening drive.
Comparison.
This is Rocc with your Sports Center update, brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. The Cardinals yesterday take up with a 5-2 lead early against the Diamondbacks in Game 1 of their series in Arizona. They allowed 4 runs across the 6th and 7th to give it up. Unfortunately, no W for Waino because of that. But a 5-run top of the 9th means the Cardinals are getting out of Arizona with a win in Game 1. Game 2, tonight at 8:40 local time, it'll be Steven Matz, 1-7 on the season, facing off against former Cardinal Zach Gallen. Also, yesterday, St. Louis City SC had a press conference to unveil a new part of the team. Unfortunately, it's not the new winger, but new president and GM Diego Gigliani. That is your Sports Center update, brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Welcome back to the opening drive. I'm Kerry Davis, joined by Brooke Grimsley, and it is time for the fight. And our fighter today is Joe. Joe, good to talk to you again. How's it going?
I'm doing well, guys. How are you?
Doing wonderful. You got a win yesterday against Randy Carrick. Are you ready to make it 2 in a row?
Do my very best. Let's try it.
All right, here we go. Happy birthday to Sweetness Walter Payton. Payton was the first player ever to achieve the touchdown triple crown, a passing, rushing, and receiving touchdown in the same game. Well, only 2 other players have done it, LaDainian Tomlinson and which wide receiver? Is it Antoine Randall L., Matt Jones, or David Patton?
Randall L.
Harrison Bader made his Cardinals debut on this day in 2017. Despite pulling out because of injury, which World Baseball Classic team was Bader committed to play against this past spring? Excuse me. England, Italy, or Israel?
Give me the options one more time. Sorry.
England, Italy, or Israel?
I'll just go England.
There are only 2 Padre players to lead the National League in home runs, Fred McGriff and who else? Is it Dave Winfield, Adrian Gonzalez, or Fernando Tatis Jr.?
I'll go Gonzalez.
Across his entire terrible run as the owner of the Washington franchise, Dan Snyder's teams produce one. I added a word. Teams produce one non-special teams first team All-Pro in 25 years. Who was it? Brandon Scherf, Derek Dockery, or Trent Williams?
Sheriff.
All right, we will double check the score and we will bring in Randy Carricker.
Joe, how you feeling?
A little better than yesterday, but I ended up winning yesterday, so I don't know how. If that's good or bad.
So yesterday, not as great. A little bit better today. Yesterday, you won, and you don't know if that's going to mean you're going to win again today.
Yeah, I don't know. I was guessing yesterday, and yeah, we'll see.
All right. Say hello to Joe again, Randy.
Joe, good morning. How you doing?
Hey, Randy, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks very much for listening. Thanks for playing. It's great to have you with us on the show.
Thanks.
All right, Randy, you ready?
Ready.
Happy birthday to Sweetness, one of my favorite players, Walter Payton.
He was awesome.
He was the first player to ever achieve the touchdown triple crown, a passing, rushing, and receiving touchdown in the same game. Only 2 other players have done it, LaDainian Tomlinson and which wide receiver?
Passing, rushing, and receiving in the same game?
Yep.
Wow, I'm surprised that Terry Metcalf never did that. It was a wide receiver that did it, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Passing, rushing, receiving. The easy play here would be Jerry Rice. But I'm thinking it was probably not him. So I will, I'll do the lifeline here, sir.
Antoine Randall L., Matt Jones, David Patton.
I'm going to go with Antoine Randall L. Okay, that's a great call. Former quarterback. Might have even done it in a Super Bowl. I don't know, but I'll do it. I'll say it was Antoine Randall L.
All right, Harrison Bader made his Cardinals debut on this day in 2017. Despite pulling out because of injury, which World Baseball Classic team was Bader committed to play for this past spring?
This past spring, Harrison Bader. Who was it? I know it was one of two. It was either the Netherlands or Israel. I think it's Israel. They missed out. You know, on the World Baseball Classic before, they had the mensch on the bench. You know, the elf on the shelf, and they had the mensch on the bench that was very cool.
Best mascot.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was great. So I will go with Israel for Harrison Bader.
There are only two Padre players to lead the National League in home runs: Fred McGriff and who else? I would use Lifeline. So I know Nate Colbert had a ton of home runs for them. St. Louis and Crime Dog. You know, I'll go Gary Sheffield because I was actually looking at him yesterday. He almost won the Triple Crown for them. I don't know if he wound up leading the league in home runs, but I'll play Gary Sheffield. Yeah, sure.
Across his entire terrible run as owner of the Washington franchise, Dan Snyder's team produced one non-special teams first team All-Pro in 25 years. Who was it?
First team All-Pro for the Washington football team. Between the time he bought it in 99, I'm going to... Okay, there's only two guys that I think even have a chance here. And I don't think Chase Young did it. Maybe I'm wrong here. But I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to go with Sean Taylor.
He's over there studying.
All right.
Which makes me nervous.
Again,
deep
ladies and gentlemen,
actually.
we have a tiebreaker in today's fight. So we've gone through a lot of these lately, so we'll go back to it. And Joe, you were in one yesterday, so I suggest you know the rules, but we will read out the question. We'll give Randy a chance to write down his answer. We will then get your answer audibly. We will then show what Randy Carricker wrote down. Whoever is closest to the pin is the winner of today's fight. Joe, do you understand those rules?
Yep.
And Randy, do you have pen and paper ready?
I do. I'm ready.
All right. Walter Payton owns the record for the most passing touchdowns by a non-quarterback in a career post-merger. How many touchdowns did Sweetness throw in his career? Walter Payton owns the record for the most passing touchdowns for a non-QB in a career post-merger. How many TDs did Sweetness throw? Randy Carricker, I heard the pen on the paper.
All right.
And I have a number from Randy Carricker. Joe, what is your guess?
I'll say 12.
All right, quick little bit of math tells me that we have a winner in today's fight. Does Joe roll on to a Hall of Fame opportunity, or does Megamind, who's been getting tripped up in these tiebreakers as of late, come through with a win on a Tuesday? Ring that bell.
The winner and still champion of the fight, Randy Carricker.
The fight is presented by Golf Discount of St. Louis, with the most experienced club fitters in town. Why shop anywhere else?
Just one?
There's just one. I lost.
Bro?
Why did it fade away?
Well, Randy, really quickly, do us a favor. Throw up that notepad in front of the camera. Joe's guess for the touchdowns thrown by Walter Payton was 12. Randy's guess was 10. The answer is 8. Walter Payton threw 8 touchdowns. That is the most by a non-QB post-merger in NFL history, Joe. So Randy just edged you out in today's fight.
He's still pressing.
I was going to say 8, and I bumped it up to 12.
Yeah, it's always go with the gut, and let's go through these questions, by the way. You both tied with 1. Happy birthday to Sweetness, Walter Payton. Payton was the first player to ever achieve the TD Triple Crown. Only 2 other players have done it. LaDainian Tomlinson and which wide receiver. David Patton did it for the New England Patriots in 2001. He had 2 receiving touchdowns, a rushing touchdown, and a throwing touchdown. A little fact there, Antoine Randall never had a rushing touchdown despite all the trick plays in the bag there. Harrison Bader made his one other thing on number 1. One other running back has done it since LaDainian Tomlinson. McCaffrey did it last year. That slipped past me, but obviously the question was about a wide receiver. Harrison Bader made his Cardinals debut on this day in 2017. Despite pulling out because of injury, he was committed to play for Team Israel in this past WBC. The only 2 Padres to lead the National Leagues in home runs are Fred McGriff and Fernando Tatis Jr. with 42 back in 2021. And across his entire run as owner of the Washington franchise, Brandon Scherf was the only first-team All-Pro for Dan Snyder's teams in 25 seasons. So a 1-1 tie takes us to the tiebreaker, and Randy wins it there. So, Joe, thank you so much for joining the fight and joining the show the last 2 days.
Thank you, guys. Take care.
Thank you, Joe. Good to have you with us on 101 ESPN.
That's terrible. That's putrid. 1 All-Pro in 20-plus years, non-special teamer.
I think the lowest franchise next to him is like 4.
That's
in that span of years.
It's sick.
Unbelievable. And it's Scherf like 2 years ago too. So the first 20 years they didn't have a single one.
Brutal.
Absolutely insane. Randy, is this 360 machine okay?
I just can't. Oh, there it is.
You keep pressing buttons. That was the saddest air horn that I think I've ever had. That's exactly okay. It just faded away into the abyss.
Yeah, it just did. It just disappeared. Coming up next on 101 ESPN, we've got our bird watch, and it's not bird droppings today. It's a bird watch because the Cardinals did come away with a win in Arizona last night. That's next on 101 ESPN. Hey, if you're driving around this morning and you're already a little bit fatigued, even though you got a good night's sleep, you think you got a good night's sleep, you might be dealing with low testosterone. Guys, as we pass our 30th birthday, that definitely does happen. Low testosterone occurs. It's a medical reality. And when your testosterone level drops, then your level of ability to be energetic drops too. You do become fatigued. You don't have the ability to get through workouts, get through runs, get through bike rides, or walk golf courses like you used to have. That can be a problem that's solved at Mentality. Go to lowtusa.com and find out what they can do for you. At Mentality, their board-certified physicians are going to Check your blood work, find out where your testosterone level is, and then they have an FDA-approved testosterone supplemental treatment that will get your testosterone level back to a normal level and get your energy level back to where you want it to be. It really is a difference maker for every single guy of any age. If you use your body for your job every day, it's going to make a huge difference for you. Go to lowtusa.com, schedule your appointment today, and be the guy, the energetic guy that you want to be with Mentality.
Flying down to the field to give you the latest on your St. Louis Cardinals. This is Bird Watch on the opening drive.
All right, what's going on with the Redbirds? It is time for the Bird Watch. Brooke, there's a little bird calling you.
Oh, there it is. Hello, little birdie. I just wanted for my bird watch to recap some of the moves that were made yesterday, because I did see a lot of people on social media very confused, and rightfully so, when you see that Herrera is sent back down. You're like, whoa, 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 wait a minute. He's doing all the right things. And Ollie Marmol even mentioned that yesterday in the pregame. It was more of a numbers issue. So the series of moves yesterday was Adam Wainwright was activated, Andrew Suarez was selected, Ivan Herrera and Zach Thompson is a little interesting for option. Ryan Helsley moved to the 60-day, which Helsley is interesting because he's a name that we have seen in some possible trade rumors, the 60-day IL. That indicates to me that that's a player who's likely not on the move, possibly.
I would agree with that. When did they put him? Do you know right off the...
When they put him on the injured list?
Yeah, I don't... sorry to put you on the spot there. I'll see if I can find it.
I cannot remember. He's been out for a while now, but moving him to 60-day, he'll be out until like middle of August.
Yeah, moves him past August 1st. That's the bottom line.
And the thing with Herrera is he has done all the right things. We were talking about earlier, he has made significant strides this season where you really feel comfortable about him continuing to grow in that role. And it wasn't about that with him. It was more of Adam Wainwright coming back. We knew that the pitch count was going to be low. He actually surpassed his prescribed pitch count for last night. He was only supposed to go, what was it, like 60 65 pitches, and he definitely went over that. I did like the decision of keeping him in that moment. So that was the whole reason why, because they just needed a little bit more pitching to help. So that's why you saw Ivan Herrera sit down yesterday.
Yeah, so there's a lot of guys that don't do anything wrong that are not catching for the Cardinals anymore.
Oh.
Nothing that he's done.
It's not his fault. Or maybe it is. Who knows?
So, June 12th was the day that Helsley was placed on the IL, by the way.
A while ago.
So July. Yeah. So
been a while.
Yeah. So he'll be here.
My bird watch is going to be the relievers. We saw last night the collapse of Stratton and JoJo Romero with Adam Wainwright's 199th win on the line. And so I did some numbers. The last 7 days, they have gone 23 innings, the relievers have. They have allowed 11 runs and 27 hits. It's not what you want for guys coming in, probably with runners on base or crucial situations where your pitcher was unable to get out of an inning or, did a great job but was unable to finish the game, obviously. How many complete games do we have in this year? None? Do we have a complete game this year? We don't have one, do we?
I don't think we do.
No way. I don't think we do. Either way, can you find out how many games we've gone to the 8th inning? Starting pitchers. The relievers, we've talked a lot about the starting rotation and how much better they need to be, and it's because the relievers also need to be better. If you're going to rely on guys to get you out of innings, get you out of games cleanly, they have to not allow as many hits. They have to not allow as many runs. And that is it's unfortunate because as a starting pitcher, you can only do what you can do. You control what you control. And when you're out of the game, you have to trust your teammates to pick you up and make sure that they deliver on what you have on the line. And yesterday, that didn't happen for Adam Wainwright. The Cardinals got the win. Adam Wainwright didn't. And it's basically because the starting rotation is not giving you enough innings and the relievers aren't having enough success. They are not pitching well enough for you to win enough games either. And along with the number of blown saves, I think we're at 19 for those.
Yeah, the bullpen has been bad. But to your point with the starting pitching, too, I would like to see them get deeper into games, but I think that the emphasis needs to be on the quality of the starts. That's what we've really been missing a lot this season, especially on a consistent basis.
Yeah, whenever you have to give the bullpen more than 9 outs to get, you're causing problems for everybody. And as great as Adam pitched and coming off the injury, he was fine. But one of the things that the Cardinals need to get when I talk about rebuilding the starting rotation is a group of guys that can consistently give you 6 innings and not stress the bullpen as much as this group has because of the inefficiency of Flaherty, because of the fact that they just won't let Montgomery go. And maybe it's a philosophical issue that they need to deal with as well, because you can tell that Jordan Montgomery wants to stay in there, and they don't let him.
Yes.
And they've let Flaherty a couple of times, but you have way too many starts that are less than 6 innings for any bullpen to be able to withstand it, especially when you can't use the Memphis shuttle and bring in new relievers all the time.
Yeah, and with Suarez, and that was the whole reason they sent down Zach Thompson, right? Because they used him 2 days in a row. You need
After
a fresh
not using
arm
for 3 weeks.
Yes, yes, and then you need a fresher arm apparently to bring up, but. That's something that I wish that I would see more, because you look at that situation with Adam Wainwright last night. He could have pulled him, right? He could have said, no, we said 60, so pitches, we're going to pull him because we got to stick to the script. But instead, he didn't do that. It was more of the feel of the moment. And you wish that you would have seen that a little bit more this season.
Absolutely.
Do you know how far we've come in the game of baseball?
How far, CD?
The leading team right now with complete games is the Texas Rangers with 3. 1987. It's a good year, right?
Who's their pitching coach?
The Boston Red Sox led the league with 47 complete games.
Mike Maddox is their pitching coach.
Who's their pitching coach?
Mike Maddox, former Cardinal pitching coach.
They have 3.
47.
In 87, it was 47. I mean, obviously, it's still some time left, but I don't think the Texas Rangers are going to...
they're going to get there. No.
And they've done that without
44
DeGrom either, which is incredible.
Well, in 1985, Tudor had... How many did John Tudor have that year, 1985? Did he have
7 or 8?
10 CGs, I think?
It's...
By himself?
Why have we gone so far?
Agents.
Is that what it is?
Mm-hmm.
They don't want their pitchers. They don't want horses anymore. They don't want their guys throwing 250 innings, 300 innings.
I can blame analytics, too, because analytics... They don't want pitchers throwing over 100 pitches. They don't want pitchers going because they just don't think that pitchers can go a third time through the lineup, even though
they still
in
have
1987,
Tommy John surgery, though. They still get hurt.
It's just crazy. I don't get it.
Intriguing.
Yeah. Well, and by the way, when Nolan Ryan, and this was 2011, when Nolan Ryan was in charge of the Texas Rangers, he tried to set up their minor league system. So the guys threw a bunch of pitches like he did, and agents were crazy. They just went crazy and started calling, saying, you can't throw my guy that many pitches. So hopefully the guy we got from Stanford, the Cardinals drafted, they'll throw him 150 pitches a game.
I have the numbers right now. So 101 starts right now, CD. The Cardinals have gone past 6 innings 27 times. the starter, by the way. 6 innings, 27 times, 7 innings, 8 times, and 8 innings, 1 time. Miles Michaelis. So 101 starts. They've gone past.
So Miles.
They've made it to the 6th inning or further, less than half of the starts.
But where does that stand in the league? Because it's a trend that you're seeing. But I'm saying, like, in the league in general, you're starting to see that teams are going more and more away from that anyways.
If you are going to, let's say, not allow your starter to see the lineup the third time, wouldn't it behoove you to have a great bullpen?
Yeah, it would.
That matters.
I mean, I'm not.
And a reasonably fresh bullpen.
I'm not the brightest crayon in the box, but I think that if you were going to allow your starting pitchers to only pitch to the 6th inning, you might need a group of guys, a good group of guys that can go finish the deal.
Should be easy. You should be able to put.
I'm available if anyone wants any
for advice. We're all available,
man,
really.
yeah.
But CD, to me, you're like the neon crown box. You're bright to me.
What is that word?
Crown.
Crayon.
Crown.
I'm going to do the St. Louis version. We're going to start that up again, aren't we?
Yeah. Remember a few years ago when the Royals, 2015, when the Royals won the World Series, and they had a manager who kind of managed the games named Ned Yost, and they had this bullpen, HDH. It was Herrera, Davis, and Holland. They had the lead after 6. Herrera pitched the 7th. Davis pitched the 8th. Holland pitched the 9th. Bing, bang, boom, you had a victory and you won the World Series. That just doesn't exist anymore. By the way, one more little birdie thing. Do we still have... Tweet. There it is. CD, I know you were asleep. But Brooke, I know you saw it. Matthew, I know you saw it. Tyler O'Neill, last night, bases clearing double in the 9th inning to expand the lead from 7-6 to 10-6. That bases clearing double by Tyler O'Neill, who, by the way, in the second half of the season, or since he returned, is hitting to an 850 clip of OPS, and he's now got a couple of extra base hits, and he's slugging 400, on base 450. Keep Tyler O'Neill.
Oh, Randy.
You're not being serious.
No,
I know you're not. I know you're not being serious right now.
Trade him today.
Hey, I was excited for Bob Nightingale's report that there was half a dozen scouts.
Yeah.
They're actually looking at Tyler O'Neill. That's encouraging.
And by the way, I know this sounds counterintuitive, but if you're Oli Marmol, don't you tell him don't run too hard.
Now you tell him. You know how you ran first week of the season? I need that guy.
What a fun conversation that would be.
Third base, they're going home. Just give me enough to know you're trying.
Yeah. There's your Birdwatch on 101 ESPN. Coming up, our rush hour reset, a thrilling Cardinal victory. They are relentless. You'll hear it next on 101 ESPN. Hey, I want to talk to you about the turf in your backyard, and I've talked to you a lot about Clubhouse Turf and them being the official exclusive partner of Celebrity Greens here in St. Louis. If you want to improve your golf game and practice your putting on a beautiful synthetic turf that has real grass performance, then get in touch with Clubhouse Turf at 314-834-2343 or find them on the web at clubhouseturf.com. Now, in addition to those quality celebrity golf greens, Clubhouse Turf also offers a complete line of synthetic turf installations, including sport turf, playgrounds, pet turf, and lawn turf. If you have brown spots in your yard from your pets or areas where you just can't get the grass to grow, Clubhouse Turf has the solution. Synthetic turf is durable, easily maintained, and sustainable as it requires no mowing, trimming, watering, fertilizers, or chemicals. It's an investment that literally pays for itself. Go to clubhouseturf.com or give them a call at 314-834-2343. If you want the perfect turf in your backyard, get a synthetic turf or a celebrity green from clubhouseturf.com. It's time for the Rush Hour Reset at 9:04. Your time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Brooke Grimsley is here. Kerry Davis is here. I'm Randy Carricker. The Cardinals were actually down heading into the ninth inning last night by a score of 6-5. Evan Longoria had doubled home a run in the seventh to give the Arizona Diamondbacks the lead. The Cardinals have blown a 5-2 advantage, have blown Adam Wainwright's win, and we thought, okay, they aren't going to win. Kerry even went to sleep.
I did.
And he didn't get a chance to hear this.
Well, how fitting would it be for him to come back to the desert and at least get this game tied? Line left field base hit. One run scores. Here comes Contreras. He'll stop at third. Goldy comes through with a game-tying hit. It's 6-6. What an at-bat.
Contreras to third, Donovan to second, DeYoung to the plate, and the Cardinals had a couple of runners aboard. And Lars Nootbaar, after great job by Wilson Contreras to get on base, Lars Nootbaar got him home.
The 3-2 pitch. Runners go. Ball four. Cardinals have the lead.
Noot.
Get
How about that offense?
Oh,
Good eye.
yes, yes. Plate discipline on display by Lars Nootbaar, the Nutty Neuters of Newt Nation. We were very excited last night.
rejoice?
We rejoiced, and also we said, get neutered.
Get neutered.
You just got neutered.
Oh,
Oh, no?
just snort.
No? I don't think I've ever heard you snort. That is a win in my book.
We got to find a better catchphrase.
You don't like get neutered?
No.
Oh,
No.
Oh,
What about getting nuded?
that's what I said. But I also
said
then added
neutered.
the neuter.
Yeah, I don't like
too.
that one. No, nuded
okay.
is better.
So Donnie
Nutty Neuters
Baseball
or Nutty.
reaches to join Newt and Goldy aboard, and the Nutty Neuters went crazy again because of Bro Neal.
Cardinal at every base, the pitch. Swing, drive, hammer toward left. The ball is down and into the corner. 2-run score. Here comes Newt around third. He's getting waved. O'Neal clears him with a double.
And that gave the Cardinals the 10-6 advantage. Jordan Hicks came on with a 27-pitch ninth inning. Didn't even get a save because it wasn't a save situation. But he came on and saved it for winner Giovanni Gallegos, who allowed 2 hits in his inning and a third of work. And the Cardinals win at 10-6. They snap a losing streak, and they remain within 11 of the lead in the National League Central. Just 11.
I just want people to remember when they trade away these pieces, when they trade away Jordan Hicks, when Montgomery and Flaherty go, when Tyler O'Neill goes, when Paul DeYoung and whatever, if there is a surprise, just know that there's a potential for them to be really good in their next place,
Agreed.
at their next stop. That do not remember that you did not think that they were doing well enough here at times, and you wanted them to be moved to St. Louis. Do not get frustrated. Why can't we develop anyone? Why can't we get it together? It's sometimes a new place gives people new energy. And so these players are going to go, and well, that's important too. These people are going to go and have success. Some are going to do well. Some are going to do better. Some are going to do worse. But don't lose it when they do really well. Talking about Jordan Hicks here.
And Jeff Passan writes in a piece at ESPN.com this morning, 11 games back in the NL Central, the Cardinals are telling teams that they plan to move left-hander Jordan Montgomery, right-hander Jack Flaherty, shortstop Paul DeYoung, and perhaps right-handed reliever Jordan Hicks with near Major League-ready pitching their target. Whether they deal from their surplus of outfielders remains an open question for a market that includes the Yankees, Astros, and Marlins, with Seattle and Minnesota also in tire-kicking mode. For now, the teams are asking filet prices for what the industry regards more as chuck talent. The deadline and the ticking clock that accompanies it typically helps the parties find a happy medium. It just takes time, and with 20 teams either occupying a playoff spot or within 5.5 games of one, that time looks likely to stretch into the weekend, the trade deadline weekend.
And that's the tough thing about pitching, right, is that you never know what you're going to get and just how fickle it can be when it comes to injuries and how things are going to pan out with them. But that's just the situation that you're in currently right now. I do think it's really interesting. We keep getting texts in asking if this whole Wilson Contreras catcher situation is going to affect free agency and pitchers who are possibly looking at St. Louis as a landing spot. Do you think that that is an actual issue for the Cardinals?
Not if you're getting paid $30 million a year.
I think the money will be the primary thing here. But for people that are trying to win, and they know what's happened here, I would think that there's probably some fractured trust on the part of major league players. Kerry, you always talk about it, how players talk to each other. Yeah. They know, and not just the Contreras situation that people know about, but the whole kerfuffle with him getting benched, the whole Tyler O'Neill thing early in the season, which was front and center nationally. The whole situation with Zach Thompson. Players know about Zach Thompson being jerked around by the Cardinals. I would think that, and Jordan Montgomery's clear frustration with being taken out on a regular basis. You're a starting pitcher. You look at the Cardinals, you say, I don't want to be stuck like he was, only throwing 99 pitches and not having a chance to protect my own lead. So I would think that the Cardinals will need to do some repairing of a reputation to get people to come to St. Louis for less than market value.
They would have to, right?
Yeah, what the Cardinals need is a player or players that say, I don't give a damn about your analytics, go away. And there is a time and place for everything, and there is a time and place for that. As a starting pitcher, if the manager or the pitching coach comes out and says, hey, you're getting close, get the hell out of my face, sir. Go back to where you were. Let me do what I do. You do what you do. You need a few players like that on your roster. And when you don't have, again, it's cool. Everybody is nice and everybody gets along, but you need a couple of people that will tell the coaches, the organization, hey, this is what we're going to do right here, right now. Trust me, trust my leadership on the field, because the players on the field are the ones that have to make the decisions. At the end of the day, the manager can put you in the right place. The organization can hire the right people to be on that field. But at the end of the day, when I'm on the field, I am in control of what's taking place. And so you have to trust the players to do that. But you also have to have players that have the fortitude to say, hey, go away and let me do my job.
And I do hope that, and I have no idea, but my hope is that with all those things that we just described, that there is enough trust on the part of these players so that they could legitimately say to somebody who they're recruiting to the Cardinals, yeah, this is going to be a good spot for you. Adam Wainwright, Matt Holliday, over the years, have done a great job of trying to recruit players to the Cardinals. I don't know now if you're a player for the Cardinals, can you legitimately go to another player and say, hey, yeah, this is great. You can really trust him here. Based on what we've seen with O'Neill, and I don't know who's right, who's wrong, what the truth is, but O'Neill, Contreras, Zach Thompson, several other situations, Nootbaar in center field, Edman in center field, O'Neill in center field, whomever. I wonder what the faith level is of players outside of this organization, in this organization, to join it.
You know who has a lot of respect in the entire league?
Who?
Nolan Arenado.
He does.
If he is going out there and recruiting players and saying, look, because even he's frustrated. We don't know what those conversations off season were like with him, but if he's able to go out there and continue to recruit and help bring in more players for the Cardinals, which it seems like he would be willing to do because he wants to win as soon as possible. 2024 needs to happen. That's what it sounds like from the organization, from Nolan as well. He wants to win now too, of course, but if you're looking ahead with this organization and what they're trying to do, I can see Nolan, if he's going out there and recruiting, that's somebody that a lot of people will listen to. They're like, okay, well, if Nolan can see a way where they can get past whatever happened, all those things that happened this season, then I believe in the organization as well.
Definitely. One other note on this rush hour reset, the New York Giants assigned Saquon Barkley to a one-year deal worth up to $11 million. He'll become a free agent after this season. A $2 million signing bonus. He won't be the highest paid running back in the league. He doesn't get his long-term contract, but he is in camp, and he will lead the way to the Giants' NFC championship victory. So, no.
Who's the quarterback?
Daniel Jones, the white Lamar Jackson.
Oh, my gosh.
Who are they throwing the ball to? Because last I checked, Saquon was the leading receiver on the team.
Yeah, they got some issues there,
okay.
Kerry.
He's going to be Lamar Jackson for sure, running that ball.
Coming up, there are more trade rumors. There's some interesting stuff popping up this morning, and we'll bring you the latest next year on 101 ESPN. Hey, Cardinal fans, it's going to be warm here in St. Louis. Well, it's warm right now, but it's even going to get warmer. And I have an exciting scoop for you from our friends at Schnucks. They have a fun new ice cream flavor that you're going to love. It's Schnucks Cardinals Cherry Crunch Ice Cream exclusively at Schnucks. It's cherry and vanilla pudding swirled ice cream. Red and white for the Cardinals, of course. Sprinkled with candy-coated graham cracker pieces that bring the crunch. And it's real ice cream. That's because Schnucks uses real milk and real cream. And wait until you see the Cardinals baby blues on the packaging. You're going to love it. You can find it in the frozen aisle at your local Schnucks. And while you're at it, take a look at all the other unique flavors of Schnucks ice cream there. Just look for the red Schnucks circle on the carton and know that if you get real Schnucks ice cream, it's going to be absolutely delicious. Ice cream and the Cardinals. Is there a better summer combo? Schnucks didn't think so. That's why they made Schnucks Cardinals Cherry Crunch Ice Cream. You will absolutely love it. Root for the Redbirds this summer and take advantage of the warm weather by cooling off with scoops of Schnucks Cardinal Cherry Crunch Ice Cream exclusively at Schnucks.
From the Car Shield studio, this is the opening drive on 101 ESPN.
The whole team has been badly managed this year. I don't know who's calling the shots. I suspect it's Mozeliak, but I don't know for sure. But who's ever calling the shots, come on, you need to go. It's time for a whole shake-up and a whole big change in the management of this team if we ever want to win again.
So Janet, friend of the station, friend of the show, is of the belief that some people need to be rehomed.
Oh, that's the term that we have adopted here, because it's not that we're wishing people to lose their jobs. It's just a rehoming, right? Mm-hmm. Finding a better situation. Sometimes it doesn't work out. You know what? You don't like the rehoming,
well,
CD?
I think it's kind of the same thing as giving someone a new job.
No, it's just they're going somewhere else.
Yeah.
So we're not firing them.
They're in a better place. This is kind of like
your way to humanize these people is to
not humanize. Think about it. Think about this. Think about this. Okay. Think about this. Okay. This is something that we can all relate to. Okay. Think about a little scared puppy in a hoarding situation, okay?
Okay.
And gets to go to a glorious house where it gets all kinds of treats and gets fed and has its own little donut bed and everything. And it's rehomed in a perfect situation. That's what we're dreaming for these people that are in charge of this Cardinal situation.
But what if the home that they were in gets cleaned up and it's a much better home? The new person, the new dog gets that better home, right?
Yeah, so good for them.
Well, no, this is just, it's one dog moving on to greener pastures.
That sounds
somebody's taking a long car ride out to the old farm.
I don't like
this.
Is
that what you're saying?
I don't like this.
That doesn't sound great.
I'm just rehomed. Anyway, our friend Derek Gould at STLtoday.com reporting that there is a team with interest in Steven Matz, an American League team. Nobody's going to admit it, but they've got... did I just say that out loud? I'm sorry. An American League team that has interest in Steven Matz. Now, the history of one John Mozeliak is that he deals with the New York Yankees, right? He deals with the Cleveland Guardians. He deals with the Toronto Blue Jays. And he deals with the Tampa Bay Rays. I would think that it'd be one of those four teams that would be interested in Steven Matz, who, by the way, came from Toronto, where he had arguably his best season.
Well, I mean, if you have an opportunity to move Steven Matz, again, my concern would be, Randy and Brooke, where does this starting rotation go next year, and what does this bullpen look like? You're going to have a completely different. This team will be completely different from what it was last year, specifically in the pitching portion of the team. And what does this starting rotation look like? You'll have Miles Michaelis, and what else? Because Matthew Liberatore has been sent down. Dakota Hudson, do you trust him enough? Is McGreevy and Graceffo, are they ready? Steven Matz has started in this league and has had success. If you send him away as well, now you're looking at one guy. Adam Wainwright is going to retire after this season. You got one guy assuming that Flaherty and Montgomery are gone and not being re-signed in the offseason, you got one guy. I don't know what should scare you more, the fact that you saw what this Cardinals rotation did all season long, or going into next season knowing you got one guy.
And by the way, I'm looking at it as two guys because I'm going to have a rookie at the back end of my rotation.
You don't know who
whether it's Graceffo, McGreevy, Connor Thomas.
McGreevy's definitely like a 4 or 5 guy.
Zach Thompson.
Is he stretched out yet?
We don't know.
Okay.
But yeah, he's another guy. So,
Thompson's everywhere. That poor man has been dragged everywhere this season.
But if I'm the Cardinals, I am rebuilding the rotation. I need a front of the rotation guy. There's not many available, but you have to commit yourself to getting one of those. Michaelis can be your number 2, and then you need legitimate veteran 3 and 4 type guys. One of those guys that I hoped would be here, as much for his personality as anything, and he has pitched well in the second half, is Lance Lynn, who reportedly has the Cardinals among 10 teams on his no-trade list. He's got a no-trade protection clause in his contract, and one of the teams that he did not want to come to, for whatever reason, when he signed in July of 2021, was St. Louis.
Why is that?
That's a great question. He didn't leave on good terms.
That could be a big reason why.
Yeah.
That should give you a peek, a window, a peek behind the curtain.
So no Lance Lynn, but you can look at guys like Kyle Hendricks out there. There's going to be enough pitchers out there that you can take your shot. Giolito's going to get ridiculous money, so Giolito's not a guy. And you could always, and I know you guys have talked a lot about this, you could always, if you so desired, try to bring a guy like Montgomery back, right?
You could try, but I don't think he's coming back.
Or Flaherty, by the way.
I don't
know. I think when those two are gone, that they are most likely gone. I think that's the way it's going to go. And look, maybe this is me being too sunshine and lollipops, but I'm trying to look at a positive for this offseason. Does it concern me with the history of the Cardinals front office and free agency and how they've approached it and handled it? Yes, but at the same time, I think we can all agree they're not going to trade Nolan Arenado and Paul Goldschmidt. We can get those rumors behind. I know ESPN just put out an article, but even in his own article, he mentioned the fact that they're not going to likely part with Nolan Arenado. So if you're going to keep that core group, which is what it seems like Mozeliak is relaying to reporters and people, then what does that tell you about 2024? That they still think they have a chance. You're going to have to do that in free agency with getting some really good starting pitching. So to me, that signals that they will be willing to pay a lot of money.
I would hope so. They absolutely need it.
Because you can't do what you did this past offseason.
Right. No, you can't. And by the way, if you want to set up for 24 and Logan Gilbert is one of the guys that you get from Seattle, I think he's fine as a 3 or 4. I don't trust him. I can't trust him because he's never been a number 1 type pitcher before like Aaron Nola has been. So while I think I like his upside, I want a legitimate number 1. But if the Cardinals go out and get a Logan Gilbert as number 3 or 4 starter, I'm willing to take a chance on that. I'm willing to take a chance on a lot of different guys. Kyle Hendricks, who's bounced back, and I know the Cardinals are saying, well, we're going to go swing and miss. We're going to go swing and miss. Kyle Hendricks is the guy they've always needed with a good defense like this, and he would thrive if coached properly. That's a big caveat here. If coached properly, he could thrive in a place like St. Louis.
Well, we'll see what the offseason trade deadline offseason looks like for the St. Louis Cardinals. It's going to be extremely important. If they expect to have the opportunity to win the division and make a playoff push next year, they got to find some pitching. And they both starting pitching and in the bullpen.
Yep.
They have to find it, and they got to find guys that are competing and not faltering when the moments are the biggest.
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult. And by the way, I don't know Dusty Blake at all. I know that he is the Cardinal pitching coach, but if Dusty Blake saw me, he wouldn't know me. So I've never had a conversation with him. But all I can do is look at the results here and look at the results of the Cardinals last year and look at the results of the Rangers this year. And something is different. And the same group of pitchers generally, Monty pitched really well for the Cardinals last year. The bullpen pitched much better last year than it has this year. And the only difference, well, there's a couple differences, but the number one is the different pitching coach. So maybe some help for Dusty Blake as well. Coming up next here on 101 ESPN, Claibs will join us from the Valley of the Sun. He is next on the opening drive. Hey, my friends at Chesterfield Fence and Deck have been around for 55 years. One of St. Louis's top names in home improvement with a commitment to put quality and professionalism first in everything they do. The Carricker household has used Chesterfield Fence and Deck for our fence. Couldn't be happier with the product we have, and everything that they have at Chesterfield Fence and Deck, everything they install for you is guaranteed by a 5-year labor warranty, and comprehensive material warranties are also provided. They're A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau. And so if you want a great fence or deck or sunroom or screen room in your home, go to chesterfieldfence.com or just give them a call at 800-300-4054. And when you get in touch with them, make an appointment. They'll come out to your house, provide a free, no-obligation project design, and you will absolutely love working with the people at Chesterfield Fence and Deck. Mention this show and get 48 months of interest-free financing on your next outdoor project with Chesterfield Fence and Deck at chesterfieldfence.com. Call 800-300-4054. Chesterfield Fence and Deck, the sign you have the very best.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Cardinals yesterday with a 10-6 win over the Diamondbacks. They had to fight for this one. They jump out to a 5-2 lead by the 5th inning. They allowed 4 runs across the 6th and the 7th. Chris Stratton and JoJo Romero getting hit by the Diamondbacks. But then the Cardinals with a 5-run top of the 9th seal. Game 1 win again, 10-6. Game 2 tonight, 8:40 local time. It'll be Steven Matz, 1-7 on the season, facing off against former Cardinal Zach Gallen. That is your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff. Find new roads and shop 24/7 at Londoff.com and LondoffAutoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
Apparently 116 degrees in the Valley of the Sun today. That's where Mike Claiborne is with the Cardinals on the heels of their 10-6 win over the Arizona Diamondbacks last night. Claibs is with us on the Celebrity line with Brooke and Carrie. Good morning, Michael. How you doing?
I'm trying to stay cool.
So is there any golf on the horizon today for Mike Claiborne?
There's not a chance on this planet or any of the other ones in the solar system. You know, I'm trying to think of who it was. Somebody went for a walk yesterday, and they walked the course, which, first of all, I don't know why anybody would take a walk. They didn't see anybody on the golf course. And where we're staying is it's a golf course here, but it's so hot, man, that the floor in my hotel room is warm.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my gosh.
I've never when we landed on Sunday night, it was 103 at night.
Oh, my goodness.
Wow. So it's so hot that the dogs are chasing the cats and they're both walking.
No, it's a crawl. And you know what? The dog gave up. He jagged it. I catch next week. He's not going too far.
How about the relentlessness of this ball club last night?
Well, you know what? This is the biggest head-scratching team I've ever been around because there's a lot going on. I mean, there's every agent in America, along with every scout that seems to be following this team now. Here we're in Arizona. And it's got to be a distraction that they know that every game they play is one less game they're going to play with each other by the end of the weekend. And they just found a way. I mean, they just found a way last night to come back from, again, bad pitching that's cost this team on countless occasions. And they're just resilient because if you look at that ninth inning, everybody in order was doing something. And if they didn't do something in that inning, you know, you had some other guys that contributed earlier. I mean, listen, the offense is not the problem with this ball club. I mean, they've always been able to hit. Now, there are going to be some teams that throw a little cold water on them, but at the end of the day, this team is resilient as I've ever seen, and yet they can't get out of their own way on certain situations.
Claibs, how do you think, you're talking about pitching, how do you restructure the pitching staff moving forward for 2024? Because you're talking about starting pitching, but we've been talking about the bullpen as well.
And it's a good question, Brooke, that we've all been kind of wondering about. Because let's say this, okay, if you're going to trade pitching, then where's the pitching going to come from? Because you don't have it in your organization. There's no one that's really big league ready at this point. So the people that you get in return, well, if they're that close, then why isn't the other team keeping them? So you're in a real quandary right now with regard to how you're going to staff enough pitching to be competitive next year. I'm not sure if we want to go out on the free agent market again. It hasn't seemed to work out here recently. You want to try and trade for somebody that you have control over. But this is a league-wide problem. Everyone is looking for pitching, and there just isn't enough to go around. So the Cardinals are going to have to be creative. They're going to have to be lucky. And they're going to have to just really bear down. And maybe they have to go out and re-sign some of the guys that they're going to try and trade.
Claibs, I just want to say you are one of the coolest guys I know. So for you to be hot, it must really be hot out there.
Yeah, you know what? I said that to myself yesterday. I'm cool. But this is uncool. I mean, seriously, man, it is, it was like, like they said, well, it's a dry heat. It's kind of like an oven compared to St. Louis where the humidity overtakes you. This area here, they have these winds that are blowing. It's just like somebody opened up an oven and just went, whoo. I've never seen anything like it. And they're going to break a record. They think they may maybe have some rain by the end of the week, but they've gone 25 consecutive days of over 110 degrees.
Wow. That's ridiculous. Claibs, you were talking about the pitching, and again, if you're trading away pitching, you're not going to get major league ready pitching coming in return because, as you said, those guys would just be added to those rosters that our players were traded to, which means that they're going to have to develop some players. What is your faith in the Cardinals organization developing pitching? Because as it stands right now, you're probably looking at Miles Mikolas as the only returning starter going into 2024.
Well, you're going to pay Steven Matz, so he'll be around, I would think, unless you can put him in a deal. But, look at the rotation now. Mikolas, Matz, Flaherty, Montgomery, Wainwright. There's only one guy that you developed in the organization, and that's Flaherty. Everybody else you had to get from somewhere else. Mm-hmm. So maybe you have to step back and take a look at what you're doing on that front. How are you developing pitching? And I think that when you look at that scenario, you have to also look around the league and see who is developing pitching. I mean, is it Tampa? I would say, yeah, but then I say, well, wait a minute, what about Matthew Liberatore? He can't help you right now. So, it's something that I think you have to step back and just say, all right, this is a new day. We can't teach pitching like we used to. This is now a swing and miss league. Okay, we were pitch to contact because we had good defense. Well, you know what? Pitch to contact doesn't work like it used to. So I think the philosophy overall is going to have to be reviewed. And I think there's some other areas that probably need to be reviewed with regard to analytics because defensive positioning has not been there this year. I mean, they're hitting where we ain't. And so when you look at that, you look at the catching situation. We don't have a catching coordinator. Yadier Molina was our catching coordinator, but he's not here anymore. There's nobody here officially that teaches catching on the minor league level or the big league level. So there's a lot of things that probably need to be reevaluated if you want to move forward. Now, if you want to regress and step back and let somebody else be the team of the division, if not the National League, then be my guest. But I don't think the Cardinals are going to go that route. I think they're going to try and step out and reevaluate things and try and maybe redesign themselves a little bit.
Claibs, a couple of weeks ago, I likened this catcher situation to a group project. Yadier Molina was the A student, and all of the other pitchers just showed up for the group project, and they got an A. And now you got Wilson Contreras, who may be a C+, B- student, but you're going to have to put in some work in order for you all to get an A, and the pitchers have not seemed like they're willing to put in the work to get that group project and make it an A. Do you see that as the case as well? Like everyone has to buy in and be a part of it?
I do, I'm not sure if Contreras is the leader of the class.
Yeah.
One of the things I think we run across, I don't think there are guys that trust him. I mean, I think we've seen a lot of guys. If you're not convicted on throwing a pitch, it's not going to work. And I'll translate it in football terms. They call a play in a huddle, and you're not sure about it. Kerry, next thing you know, it's 2nd and 14.
Yep.
I mean, it doesn't work. And, I think there's a trust factor that goes into it because here's the other thing. When Yachty was here, nobody shook Yachty off because they trusted him. There's times where Contreras would call for a slider like 5 or 6 times in a row. And then the 7th time, it was hit. So I just really think that it comes down to a trust factor that doesn't exist as we speak because of how the results have turned out. So, again, I go back to the fact that you're right about the fact you got to have an A student that's a leader. We don't have an A student right now.
And
I'll tell you a guy who's really kind of emerged. Ivan Herrera has shown flashes of being that guy. He's as well prepared as any young catcher I've seen. He has his own set of notes compared to what the team gives him with regard to preparation as far as the opposition. So he has his own cheat sheet that he goes with as well. So he's putting the work in. He just needs experience and just little things he can do. But, the guy has really taken some leaps and bounds compared to this time last year.
The other thing this team needs is serious bullpen help, right? They've got arms down there, but the production isn't there, and it might need to be essentially a rebuilt bullpen.
Yep, I agree. With the exception of Hicks, because he's closing and he's been effective, I don't think there's another guy out there that you really trust. Chris Stratton has been a pretty solid guy, but he's a bridge guy. He's a guy that gets you to the 7th, from the 7th inning to the 8th, or maybe the 6th to the 7th. But everybody else there has shown that they have a dent in their armor, and it just doesn't. They don't respond as well as you need them to. So I would agree, and I've always advocated this. We've never had legitimate experience in the bullpen. We've never had a Russ Springer or some other guys from yesteryear who had some real legitimate big league experience other than Stratton. Everybody else you look at out there, this is their first legitimate rodeo, and I think it shows sometimes. I think it shows that maybe they haven't been in the fire or they haven't been in a high leverage situation because of another organization, and maybe they didn't get a long look. But here, look, man, this is the Cardinals, and normally we're competing for something, and right now we can't count on them on a daily basis.
Michael, it's always good to hear your voice. So what are you going to do today? You just going to hang out in the hotel?
Bro, I don't even walk near the window in my hotel.
That sounds miserable.
I was going to go for a swim, but I didn't want to get boiled. I don't know what I'm going to do, man. I might write a letter to somebody. I don't know. It's just I'm not going out of this room until it's time to get on that bus, man.
All right. Well, take care of yourself. Tell us what's going on at ClaibsOnline.com.
Well, we're going to have a sit-down with Bob Nightingale, who seems to be all over this trade deadline situation. That comes up on Thursday. Dr. Rick Lehman and Rammer have some very insightful podcasts with regard to sports medicine. What else do we have going on? We have a Walk in the Fairway with Nick Ragone. That'll come your way on Thursday. Talk a little golf as the golf season is kind of winding down, but there's still some other themes that are going on that we need to talk about, it's including the Ascension Charity Golf Classic. Some big announcements are coming up on that. And we have the Weekend Joe with Joe Roderick. He always has some interesting people and guests. And now he and I have kind of gotten off into this TV thing. And I keep forgetting how young Joe is. And I roll out, Joe Roderick didn't know Mission Impossible used to be a TV show.
Oh, no. This is tragic. So he had to do his homework. And the first thing he when he finally watched, he said, Barbara Bain, pretty hot. So now everybody who hasn't seen Mission Impossible, check out the TV show. And it held up really well. And, yes, Barbara Bain was quite strikingly attractive. Peter Graves, right? Right.
Peter Graves was the second. He was the second guy. Stephen Hill was the first guy. Hill Phelps. And Stephen Hill went on to be part of Law and Order in the early years. He was the head guy.
Adam.
Adam. But Peter Graves, who was James Arnett's brother from Gunsmoke. Now I know I got some people reeling now. So there's a lot of history to that show.
I love it.
So Brooke and Kerry, get on it. Do your homework next week. We'll have a quiz for you.
We've always talked about it. We do, and you can join me, Claibs. We need to do a segment called Back in My Day.
I'm in. So you know what? I was telling somebody the other day, I think if you and I, Bob Ramsey, Earl Austin, Chip Carey, went to a trivia night, and maybe we take Roger because he thinks he's young and hip. I think it'd be a wrap, man.
We do pretty good. I think we do pretty good.
But we're not playing for gift certificates to Pasta House or something. I mean, that's a great restaurant. We need to be on the big stage.
I'm with you. Let's do it.
All
right, Michael.
I'm in.
Have a great day, man.
You guys have a great week. Take care.
Thanks. See you later. Mike Claiborne, you can hear him tonight on the Cardinal broadcasts on the Cardinal Network on KMOX. And, of course, you can see his great work at claibsonline.com. We're going to head down the stretch with an edition of Rock and Roll here on 101 ESPN. Hey, if you're looking for a great place for lunch today, I want you to head to the Fenton Bar and Grill on Rudder Road in Fenton. It's absolutely delicious. They have great food. You start with their trashed wings, which are the best wings in town, with their signature golden sauce, or you can go with ranch, and it's going to be absolutely delicious. And then you go with the big, juicy cheeseburger, and it looks fantastic, and it tastes even better with a brioche bun, lettuce, tomato. They make great burgers at the Fenton Bar and Grill. Everything they make is great. Wonderful wraps and sandwiches, and with the weather outside like it is, a nice, cool, refreshing salad is a great way to go, too. Spectacular servers, the best service in town, with Alicia and Megan and Jamie and Kelly and Colleen, and everybody there is really fun, and everybody that's there at the bar is talking sports. It's a great place to hang out, whether it's for lunch, a business lunch, a lunch with buddies, maybe stop by after golf, or stop by for a happy hour or a great dinner. It's the Fenton Bar and Grill. Learn more at FentonBarandGrill.com, and when you stop by, tell them Randy sent you on Rudder Road in Fenton. It's the Fenton Bar and Grill.
and roll.
Let's rock. Let's rock today.
Earlier this summer, I was at the Seidenstricker Nobe tent sale, and we're going to have another one of those coming up on Friday and this weekend. You can join me Friday from noon to 2 at the Seidenstricker Nobe Partners tent sale happening at the St. Louis Premium Outlet Mall parking lot in Chesterfield. It's the final weekend of their sizzling summer sales event featuring great savings and great financing available with an easy on-the-spot application process. It's really cool. Come out and talk to their John Deere sales professionals to find the best equipment for your property. The John Deere equipment is amazing. It's Friday from noon to 2 with me at the Seidenstricker Nobe Partners tent sale at the Outlet Mall in Chesterfield. Hope to see you out there. Come by and say hi, and we'll take a picture on a John Deere together.
Ooh.
It'll be fun.
You can play that. Who is that sang that? Tim McGraw, or was it Kenny Chesney? My Tractor Sexy.
Yeah, I think it was. I think it's Kenny Chesney.
I have no idea.
Oh,
come on.
Tractor Sexy.
Yep.
I don't like that song.
Matthew,
Kenny Chesney.
Matthew just hating on the country.
Sorry, I used that song as the
you
reason.
got really angry about that.
I used that song as the reason I hated country music for like a solid decade.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Honestly, too.
What do we have in terms of a rock and roll segment here,
Well,
sir?
we have some breaking news here. USC All-American Bronny James collapsed on the court Monday and had cardiac arrest. He was taken to the hospital and is now in stable condition and no longer in the ICU. Here's the statement. This one is posted specifically by Shams Charania. It's all over Twitter right now. Yesterday, while practicing, Bronny James suffered a cardiac arrest. Medical staff was able to treat Bronny and take him to the hospital. He is now in stable condition and no longer in ICU. We ask for respect and privacy for the James family. We will update media when there is more information. LeBron and Savannah wish to publicly send their deepest thanks and appreciation to the USC medical and athletic staff for their incredible work and dedication to the safety of their athletes.
If it's my kid, even though he loves basketball and grew up in a basketball family, he's not ever going to want for anything or need for anything. His want and need is going to be to play pro basketball, but I'm not going to let him anymore.
That would be absolutely terrifying, especially, I mean, if it's an enlarged heart, whatever it is, then he might not be able to. Didn't something similar happen with Shaq's son? He had a heart condition that they...
Sharif at UCLA.
Yeah.
They found out he had a heart condition.
Yeah.
It's Jeff Green for the Denver Nuggets had that issue. He had to have heart surgery early in his career, and he's still playing basketball. So it's something, if it's caught early enough, can be taken care of. It is scary, though. I mean, this is the thing. It doesn't matter how much money you have. When you have a health scare, there is really nothing you can do for that. So for me, it's definitely concerning. I'm sure that they will have the best doctors, physicians taking a look at him, making sure that he's healthy and all cleared. You're probably not going to be able to prevent him from wanting to play basketball going forward. So, I think hopefully he'll be okay. And, I mean, it's just to get that phone call as a parent has to be the most earth-shattering thing that can take place in that moment.
Yeah, I always think of Hank Gathers.
Yeah. Yeah.
And an interesting point here from CBS Sports is Matt Norlander, who points out that last year USC also had a freshman who collapsed. Had a different freshman who collapsed during a workout. Vince, and I'm gonna absolutely butcher the last name, Owuchukwu, and he had the cardiac arrest. Very similarly, out of the ICU that day, and he played in 14 games, started 5 of them on the back end of USC's season. So we'll see how this affects, obviously, Bronny playing this year for USC, but obviously very happy. That's all great. Speaking of some news that just hit Twitter, Patrice Bergeron, him of just all of the trophies in the world for defensive forwards, with the Selke all over the place. Patrice Bergeron has announced his retirement from the NHL. Absolutely incredible career for him, and really just... when I started watching hockey in the mid-2000s and he started racking up Selke trophies, that's what I thought a forward was supposed to do. So congratulations to Patrice Bergeron. I can't believe he actually still plays.
Glad
he played the last 4 years.
Yeah, glad he didn't win that cup in 2019.
It's pretty cool for St. Louis.
I just am.
I just am.
And kind of clearing the deck here, we mentioned yesterday that the Vikings' new receiver,
who's your quarterback?
It's Kirk Cousins, just incredible. And it's amazing. One of his weapons, who will obviously catch 100 passes for like 1,900 yards this year is rookie out of USC, Jordan Addison, who was clocked going 140 down the freeway.
But with a great reason.
Yes.
But he has come out and said that he does have a good reason for it. Apparently his dog was having an emergency, and he was trying to get him to the vet. He has since come out and said he'll try to make better decisions next time. We haven't got 100% clarification on if the dog's okay. That's honestly what I care about at this point. But an interesting wrinkle in a story about a wide receiver who wants to go fast.
Yeah, well, I think it was he didn't get in any trouble, so I'm assuming that his story checks out. I'm sure when the officer
they'll have to pay a little bit of a fine, but they'll wipe that off his record.
You shouldn't drive that fast. I understand that, but that can, that can be extremely nerve-wracking knowing that your
really
dog
fast.
He's in a Lamborghini.
Medical
I feel like it's easier.
There's nobody out there.
It's 3 a.m. You're in a Lamborghini. I get that it's hard to not go over 100, but 140?
That's fast.
In a 55, by the way?
That feels like 55.
It didn't feel like 140, I can guarantee you that.
But like with dogs,
really
too, they're like your children. So I can understand if you're panicking if there's a medical emergency with your dog.
Totally get it.
Oh, I'm flying. If Stevie...
140?
I don't know if my Jeep could get that. I don't know if I've been able to ever accomplish that. Maybe if I tried hard enough, I would definitely fly fast.
So I love how Jordan Addison.
What about your Tesla?
I don't know if there's a dog or not. But doesn't Addison become a sympathetic figure now? He was going 140. Yeah, but I was doing something for my dog.
Yeah. Aw, that's where everybody.
Yeah.
Aw.
Yeah.
He played it so smart.
He really did.
And we talked yesterday about this Zoom meeting for all the running backs. Apparently, they didn't come to much of a consensus or really have much of a plan because how in the world is this contract that Saquon signed only have $1 million in incentives? I understand only saying we're going to give you the 10.8, 10.9 at the cap that the tag was. How does he not at least get like $4 million in incentives? Because if he's healthy, he's there.
Yeah. Maybe because the Giants are over the salary cap right now?
That seems like a team-building issue to me, Randy.
Well, it's a team-building issue that you don't want to get fined for.
What I hope he did was not get... I hope he put in there that he can't be franchise tagged next year, even though the number would go up. It goes up. Well, he didn't get franchise this year.
It's no big deal.
He didn't get the tag this year, but I'm assuming he put it in there to not get tagged for next year. If he didn't, then his agent need to have a conversation.
I would listen. Figure out somebody else's contract. Find me some money because I got to pay my running back legitimate number here because he's barely making more than Chubb, and he's still well paid below Christian McCaffrey.
9:56.
They're here early.
McKernan.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
People on the YouTube can see behind Brooke that Action Jackson was just sitting there waiting for us.
This is amazing.
They're like ready to get in here.
Well, Randy, we got to wrap up the show. I mean, that's rock and roll, baby. We got to get out of here, guys.
Well, it looks like Tim, who allegedly didn't golf yesterday because he was being tested for strep throat. But it looks like he's ready to get out on the links today.
Well, it's because you did a prayer for him, remember?
I did.
To sweet baby Jesus.
Yes, you did.
Please
you
let
did.
Tim be okay.
And so that's why he's okay. You did that, Randy.
Well, Tim, you're welcome.
I don't know if he did it.
He was a man. He had a beard.
Baby Jesus did it?
There you go.
Exactly. A great job today by our producer, audio engineer, the one, the only Matthew Rocchio.
Pleasure.
Brooke, this was funny.
Yeah, it was funny.
Good stuff. Good stuff. CD?
I pull bears.
You do. Hey, we thank you for tuning in, texting in, and being a part of the show for all of us until tomorrow morning, which is Hump Day and Ask Uncle Randy Day at 7. Have a great day, St. Louis.
That's right.